Now we've got audio. Let us begin. Perfect. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, honorable judges, LVE tribe, as well as everyone accompanying us. On this rather precious and sunny, which would seem would be a rather hot summer day from California, the US of A, Shabbat day, 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av, a rather tragic day for the Jewish people of the year 5992 in our best calculation from the creation of this world. This corresponds to the 26th of August of the year 2023. We shall study yet another chapter of Revelation 17, part 45, and we're studying Revelation 17 once again, since the name of the series bears a chapter that's prophetic, that's marvelous, with the title of For the Mind Which Hath Wisdom, Part 2. So then we shall be continuing in the development of this prophecy that is so spectacular, magnificent, which has helped us to wake up in the year 2007, and then later we went understanding it even better with time unto the point that we understood it completely different from the very beginning of this ministry to now. Of course, once we see it in history and time, we see that Yahweh has given us an interpretation that is absolutely unique and true. Without any further ado, let us seek our Elohim. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks for this so precious Shabbat. We give you thanks because we are living these last days on this earth dominated by Babylon, but its stupendous fall of Babylon is prophesied. We know that the victory has its days counted. It's got this generation maximum left, and we know that there's very little time to see the fall, and for the sons of Elohim, your children, to take over. In your precious name we give you thanks. Alleluia. Elohim has blessed with one more year of life the following members of the eternal truth: René Martin Fletes, Nicaragua; Gadi Javila Valle, Avila, Peru; Altagracia Baez de Mendoza, the Dominican Republic; Luis Hernan Cacua Gomez, Colombia; Francisco Aguilar, Mexico; Pilar Flecha Diaz, Spain; and Shadira Lisbeth Urbaz, the Dominican Republic; Alan Jace Munoz, Colombia; Susmari de Fermin, Venezuela; Sandra Pineda, Colombia; Gabriel Gustavo Geyer, Argentina; and we've got with us here Jamie Carolina Robledo, who is on her 15th birthday. A very happy birthday, Jamie. Today we shall be celebrating your birthday. What are we going to eat? Entomatado de res, which is a beef stew with a tomato sauce, a Mexican food. Entomatado de res. It sounds very, very delicious and promising. So then we're going to be celebrating your birthday, and we send a great big hug to each and every one of you. Thanks to Yahweh that you have had birthdays. We are here, we are together, we are waiting for this to be the very last one under the government of Babylon. Very well. Revelation 2:17 says, in the New Living Translation, whosoever hath ears to hear must listen to the Spirit and understand what he says unto the churches. Unto all they that prevail I shall give them of the hidden manna in heaven. That hidden manna in heaven has been hidden really here. Here's the manna, but it's hidden. Not all have access. Let's say this better. Very few have access to find the true manna from here. Which has been hidden in heaven, and it shall give each and every one a white stone. And in the white stone shall be engraved a new name that nobody comprehends aside from him that receiveth it. This prophecy is marvelous. It has been fulfilled with what we least expected that would be possible to fulfill. And I love that when we see the prophecies and we see later, that's just marvelous. Without forcing absolutely any aspect thereof, but the prophecies must be fulfilled in the precise time. All of you know what that is about, and actually that white stone, which all the children of Elohim have or will have, is the symbol and the prophecy thereof of something very special, rather. It will not be fulfilled any other way. It has no reason or sense to be filled in any other way. A white stone is worthless except for something that you can have with you during the whole time. And if it's a little white stone that actually has engraved a name, actually it is a very powerful symbol. It's the name that no one understands. Well, it could be either one of the two. It could be LVE, which people will confound with love, or Yahweh Ekhad, which no one understands the symbol of what Yahweh Ekhad means. So then, that actually has been fulfilled to the letter in Scripture. A symbol of the ring is the symbol of power, and it is summed up in a ring. So then actually the prophecies are being fulfilled. Apparently nothing is happening. Apparently everything continues on the same way. And no, little by little, one by one are being fulfilled all the promises that the prophets have that should be fulfilled. If it were an actual literal white stone, no one would care less, and it would be worthless. On the other hand, something that you can have with you, and that it's a symbol of power, symbol of resurrection, and it has a name thereof, something that makes you proud, that makes you feel that you belong to something that goes way past something special. It has yet to be seen, but once it's seen, that is when the people will say, I can't believe it. What I received, I can't believe it. In the position in which Yahweh has placed us, I cannot believe how things have been given. It all seemed to be so very human, ordinary, if you will. I thought I would receive a white stone from Jesus of Nazareth. I expected to receive a gift from God himself. No, that will not happen. Absolutely. This has already taken place. This takes place only in a select group of people, of which they have access to the true manna, the true food. Marvelous, absolutely marvelous. I'd like to remind you that we've got a free service in LVE, which is Angelina's consult. I'd like to thank each and every one of you that remember and you give your donations for her. She has decided not to go to a universe, one soul verse, which verse in Spanish is also used as lies, to study, because rather she enjoys what she's doing. Every day she learns more, and it is satisfactory to help people that they surpass and get over their problems. The change in people is marvelous. The change has to be little by little. Nobody can change quickly. This we shall speak about in a subject that I will present later on, which will be the next after we finish with Revelation 17. But I will not let you know what we're going to speak about. But the changes have to be constant, but little by little, because very great change, it brings other consequences, and it's not affirmed like a great change. On the other hand, things, when we slowly but surely changing them, everything is assimilated in a better way. And Angelina helps in that. To all those that have problems, all that may want to learn why their system, which you have visible, which is your body, which is your temple, how it works, why it acts in one way or another, they're all problems which you have lived consciously or subconsciously, situations. There are some which come from before you existed and your parents passed them on to you. Your grandparents, those are the most difficult ones to be able to understand and also to resolve. But due to the visible effects, it is possible to work with them. So then I invite you, all those who actually want to understand this and want to get over their physical problems, call Angelina, not just you, but all of those which may have relatives, friends that don't belong to LV. There's no problem with that. They can give Angelina a Facebook as a contact that they can make their account. This is just a practice of what the bride of Yahweh will do with all humanity. All of humanity needs redemption. They all believe, absolutely, they all believe that the Redeemer of the world came 2,000 years ago. No. And somebody would have come that redeemed something. They're worse every time. Every time they are either idiots directly or just simps. It's a very interesting term that we will study later, simps. But no redemption whatsoever. Redemption comes along with eternal life. So then, since eternal life has not come, also redemption has not come, and redemption will be in charge of the Messiah. It is the redemption of all of humanity. In redemption, it is the correction of all the mistakes, the correction of the lies inherited in our own from all the deceits that is a part of what's coming. So then now it's a mere practice of starting to self-correct ourselves, to understand what happens with us, because all of humanity will have to understand. No one magically will be redeemed. He'll go from being a guy with 10,000 problems and with lots of sicknesses, even that they took him to the grave. And all of a sudden, he's going to be freed from all those problems. No, absolutely not. In fact, I am absolutely convinced that every person must resurrect in the very same state that they died in. In other words, if there was a problem in their body, whether it be a crab or a DHS with another type of name that took them to their death, it is not fair that they resurrect without it, for them to resurrect free. If a lung crab took him to the grave, he has to resurrect with it. And why? Otherwise, what good was it? They have to revert their problems in charge of a Redeemer. The Redeemer will say how. The Redeemer will give them tools. But the work has to be done by every person, or else it is not redeemed. Or else the whole experience on this earth has been worthless. This whole earth is an experience, and the experience, if you do not take advantage of it, you will have to learn it. No one will take you out magically of your problems, no. Your problems, you have to solve them yourself. You have to be the one to overcome your problems. Of course, you need the correct information and the correct tools. Now we are limited. But in resurrection, the one that resurrects you thinks that, yeah, you've got a cancer. Oh, I said the word. You've got a problem in your lungs that does not allow you to breathe. And you'll be that way. It's not going to kill you now, but you'll be with problems, with a few oxygen. You have to revert all that. There will be better tools from now to reproduce the cells, the healthy ones, and for no consequences to be left like today. Now there are consequences because sometimes the organ is left reduced because it was reduced due to a DHS and it does not recuperate itself completely. It is left reduced. That cannot happen later. The tools have to exist to go back, take them back to their original state and even get it better and better. So then that is the work, at least ours, to understand it now, to later on develop it with all its new science, deep and powerful, that will exist. Very well. With all that, we already offer that in a free manner, at least with the means that we have today, with the system that we have today, but we are already practicing exactly that. So then if you got any doubts, you want to know something, do not doubt in writing Angelina. Very well. Today I published in Leslie's timeline in mind the month of Etanim, when Yom Teruah, Sukkot, Yom Kippur will be, so that all of you that have to ask for the free days, you can ask with time, you can ask for them to be free to enjoy this feast. Very well. Shemah Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim, Yahweh one is. That is the maximum secret of wisdom to understand the rest of Scripture. You cannot access any hidden manna if you don't have the very same principle, which is Yahweh Ekhad. Proverbs 25:2, it is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word, yet it is the honor of the king to search out the word. That is what the hidden manna is. Absolutely marvelous. What are all the people say? Christians, Muslims, and all the rest. What are they going to say? Jeremiah 16:19-21. Nakar Kolunga, Yahweh, my strength and my stronghold. They don't say that. Only his bride says that. My refuge in the day of tribulation. Unto thee shall come the peoples from the ends of the earth, and shall say, this is what they say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. Christian fathers, Jewish fathers, Muslim fathers, pagan fathers, atheist fathers, whatever they are, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. Vanity, to which there was no avail. If it is man that makes himself the gods, any gods that they worshipped were a lie. Then they are not gods, they don't exist. That's why, behold, I shall make it be known unto you this time. I shall show you the strength of mine arm in the future. Who's going to show it to them? The bride, children of Elohim. And they shall know that my name is Yahweh, only one name for humanity, only one God, only one creator, which is Yahweh. And I have this directly. Malachi 2:17 says, ye have wearied Yahweh with your words. And you say, in what have we wearied him? In that ye say, whomever doth evil pleaseth Yahweh, and in such he delighteth, or else, where is the Elohim of justice? The Elohim of justice, by receiving all the demands that for many years he has received, the complaints from not just ours, but of all humanity, whether they know him or not, and humanity in its entirety, would they say, where is the Elohim of justice? Where is he? Where can he be found? The answer is precisely on chapter 3 and 4 of Malachi, and the answer is very clear. That is the answer. Many of you, at some point in time, you have thought that either the instruction is hard, or that it's not necessary, or all the rest. And this is one of the subjects that we will elaborate after we are done, I don't know when, that we are done with Revelation 17, the prophecy. Not with the series, but the prophecy. So then we shall go to Malachi. Malachi 2:17, I'll read it directly from the Bible itself. It reads as follows. Ye have wearied Yahweh with your words, and ye say, in what have we wearied him? When ye say, everyone that doeth evil is good in the sight of Yahweh. That is what it seems. That's why those who do evil rule, those who abuse, the thieves, all types of evil is what rules us. Also the people are evil. They do all types of evil. And whoever does evil pleaseth Yahweh, and he delighteth in them. Or where is the Elohim of judgment? And the answer to this question comes immediately after. And what would seem to be divided, which is not divided, in chapter 3. In the following text, immediately Yahweh answered this question and says, behold, here's the answer. It says, you're asking me, where's the Elohim of justice? Behold, I send my messenger, which shall prepare the way before me, and will come suddenly to his temple, the Lord in which ye seek, and the angel of the covenant which ye seek. Behold, he cometh. Yahweh of hosts has saith. At the end of times, then, is when the answer comes. But Yahweh is asking, are you prepared for this? It says as follows, and this is the prophecy. And who will be able to stand the time of his coming? Of whose coming? Of the messenger? Of course, not the coming of Yahweh, the coming of the messenger. Who will be able to stand the time of his coming? Who will be able to stand him? Or who will be able to stand when he manifests? For he is like a purifying fire, and as the soap of those who wash. And he shall sit, precisely the messenger, the angel of Yahweh, shall sit to refine and cleanse the silver. What's he coming to do? To refine the silver, precisely the same thing that a white stone would be, a white stone. For he shall cleanse the children of Levi. Who were the children of Levi? Why does he say that he's going to cleanse all of Israel? Why doesn't he say that he comes to cleanse the whole world? That is what the people would want to listen to, because a Christian hears that and they say, he's not coming to cleanse me, because the messenger of the covenant comes to cleanse the children of Levi. Who were the children of Levi? Because this is all symbolism. We have to take that symbol to see what it means, children of Elohim. Might it be that Levi has descendants up until today? No, of course not. Absolutely not. It'd be more than not impossible, but rather stupid in behalf of Yahweh to say, this was the son of that guy, the son of that guy, the son of that guy, the son of Aaron. No, of course not. Of course not. So then, what is the prophecy referring to, which Yahweh himself says that the one that's coming is a person that cannot be standed by a lot. Others do stand him, but most people don't. They say, the one that's coming, if he had a YouTube channel, you can't write here, you can't write over there, because they would not understand it that way, and even less later. So then if the one coming, he would get a YouTube channel, he would not have 1 million followers, because they would not stand him. He wouldn't even have 100,000 followers. Very tiny followers. Because actually for the world, he's unbearable. He'll be a false prophet. And that what he says is not according to the ideas taught to people. And they're going to say, this isn't so. Exactly. This I cannot stand. He's going to speak with a message. The people are going to say, this is not of God. This cannot be sanctified, like some Christians might say. It doesn't have the language of my Jesus. No, of course not. So then they can't stand it. The prophecy was clear. Yahweh asks, who can stand? It's difficult. It's difficult. Unbearable to the world. And then later, it says, and who shall stand? Many will leave running. Why? The thing, it says that it's like a purifying fire, and the purifying fire burns. It burns. There's no purifying fire that does not burn. The purifying fire burns, and it has to burn. all the filth has to be burned, of that he has to cleanse. And it says, and he is like the soap of them that cleanse. He comes to clean because you're dirty, inept, corrupted with garbage. That's what it would be, or else it would not be a purifying fire. That's why it's unbearable. It says, but he shall sit there to refine and cleanse the silver. He will cleanse the children of Levi. Who were the children of Levi? Okay, this is a symbol. The symbol is who were the children of Levi. The children of Levi were the Kohanim. In other words, the priests. Who were the Kohanim? Those that would intervene between the people and God. There was no such thing as a relationship between the people and God directly, but it would go through the Kohanim. The Kohen or the Kohanim, the priest. I know that Kohanim sometimes, it doesn't even sound nice to me. It doesn't sound to anyone in this language, dog shit language that the Creator uses. Priest, even worse, but I could care less. So then the priests were they that could cleanse the children of the people. If you had some problem or sins, it was unacceptable for you to come and say, Lord, please forgive me, Yahweh, forgive my sin. No. Grab a sacrifice, one that you can pay for, that you can afford, and take it to the priest. Or else forget it. If you had some sort of, I'm speaking in the symbol, if you had some sort of uncleansed contact, whatever it might be, women and all the rest, men also, they had to go with the priest. The offerings had to go unto the priest, of course, unto the temple, unto the tabernacle. Well, tabernacle sounds even worse. What's another word? The Mishkan, but aside from tabernacle, the sanctuary. When there was a sanctuary, there was a temple, right? So then the children of Levi had it in the symbol. They were the children of Elohim, obviously. Why? Because they were the ones that had a contact. They could enter into the temple of Elohim, and one alone from there could enter into the most holy place once a year, not the rest. So then there were marked categories. You had the high priest, which was the Kohanim Gadol, the highest of them all. He had access where none of the rest had access. Then you had all the other ranks, and then later, after all that, there was this huge space and the people. So then why you have to cleanse in the prophetic symbol the children of Levi? Because the children of Levi are the symbol of the children of Elohim. The children of Levi are the symbol of the bride of Yahweh, because Yahweh had an intimate contact with the children of Levi. Not with the people, but the children of Levi. So then, having understood that, when I read, he comes to purify the children of Levi, who's he coming to purify? The bride, the children of Levi. Of course, those who will be in a most direct contact, and that will have the absolute control of all that will be in charge of cleansing the rest. Those that will be in charge of cleansing the people. So then, that's why it's so important to understand every concept of the prophecy. That's why Yahweh gives it different names. The covenant, the angel of the covenant, Elijah, he names them many different names. But the work of him is to cleanse those that will be the children of Elohim. So then in no moment don't think that you're completely cleansed, or even less, until Yahweh may say, okay, it's enough. But that is not decided the one that cleanses, but rather the one that sends, the one that cleanses, and the one that helps to cleanse. A part of all the cleansing that we've had. That's why when I'm not going to expand in this subject now, because we'll study it later, but the children of Levi, for some reason, not some reason, specifically due to a specific plan of Yahweh. Also, the word Levi includes what means LVE. It's incredible. In the word Levi is found 3 words of LVE. So then, these are not coincidences. These are not coincidences, because if it were just that, that'd be perfect. But having understood the whole process, you see that the judgment of Babylon had to be done by the children of Levi, in the symbol thereof, the children of Levi. And all this coincides marvelously in this whole prophetic grain. And he says, and he shall sit to cleanse and refine the silver, because he shall cleanse the children of Levi. And the silver has to be cleansed. There are some of you that have received the ring. I'm not going to give names or anything. Received the ring, and the post office sent it to a different house. Either you gave me the wrong address, or they got confused. It doesn't matter, but they got the rings. Apparently, they came from war. They asked me if they were original, because they were kind of... The silver gets dirty. Pure silver gets very dirty. If they were from a different material, just any other one, they would be kind of almost always shiny. But silver loses its shininess because it needs for it to constantly to be polished. Buy something to polish silver, because this is an example of what we are. Don't think that because you were polished once, you're already polished and shining throughout all eternity. No, it's constant. It's constant. You want to keep it beautiful, you have to polish it. You have to polish it. And Yahweh used a symbol that needs to be polished. It needs to be polished constantly. If you want to keep it nice, and your life needs to be polished constantly. It does. Sometimes you sleep in the laurels, you start to have different either activities or thoughts and all the rest, because you think that you're already a part of the group. No. You can start to get dull, and you need to be polished on a permanent basis. It's like silver. So then it gives the symbol of silver. So then it says, he shall sit to refine the silver, because he shall cleanse the children of Levi, or of LVE. Either way. He shall polish them like unto gold, exactly, and like unto silver, and they shall bring unto Yahweh the offer of justice. Who will do that? That group. That group is in charge of bringing unto Yahweh the offer of humanity entirely. But in order for them to bring an offering from humanity, they have to be polished, because they have all types of shit. All type of dirtiness. Who inherited that unto you? Everything, starting with your mother, your parents, your society, your country, your culture. So many things. So many things. Look, that's why, speaking about standing, Yahweh has said, what country should I choose? He created the countries. I'm just playing. This is one of the most that you cannot stand, that the people hate, because they would seem to be so proud. They think that they're the champions of everything. They think that they invented everything. They think the most intelligent. Maybe they don't think that. Maybe I give them a little extra. They're the most passionate. They make the best food. They have the best soccer talents, and that the people are envious of them. They listen when speaking, and they're like, oh, these proud people. I have to choose. I'm going to form the angel of covenant in that way of speaking. That's why, that way it'll shock people from the get-go. I don't want humility of the other peoples that they want to be humble. No, 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 no. Really get them in their balls from the very moment that they open their mouths. That he's to have a characteristic that cannot be standed. The scripture says so. Who will be able to stand him? Who will be able to stand him? Just imagine. Unbearable the guy is to many people. Too many people. But what does he do? He cleanses the children of Levi. What for? So that the children of Levi, or the children of LVE, can be good for something. What are they going to be good for? To bring unto Yahweh the redeemed world. As the redeemers of the world are being formed. There's never been any redemption in this world. Never. There's been any redemption. There's no redemption. Redemption from what? The whole world continues to be evil. Yeshua came and they're even worse. Redemption from what? There's never been any redeemers. There's been people that have helped in redemption. I'm going to mention some more than anyone. Hammer. Dr. Hammer helped to redeem the body of many people. The body or the temple of many that listened to him. He helped to redeem them. That is what it is to redeem. That is why the children of Levi or the children of LVE have to redeem the entire world. But first, they have to be cleansed. You have to be polished. You have to be cleansed. And it says, and it'll be delightful unto Yahweh, the offering of Judah and Jerusalem as in the old days. And it shall come to thee for judgment. For a judgment, exactly. And I'll be soon witness. Only he is a witness against the witchcraft and the adulterers, and against they that do swear with lies, and those that in their salary they steal for him, blah, 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 and there's no need for me to say it. That is the answer. The answer to where is the Elohim of justice? The Elohim of justice is here. You're going to see justice. How will I do it? Through a group. That group has to be prepared. There but a few, but that group will redeem the entire world. So then that is my answer to justice. I will bring justice through a person, and that person will bring a group, and that group are the redeemers of the world. As simple as that. And when I say person, I speak of an Ekhad. Very well.
And literally, to give Germanic medicine, that is what it is, to cleanse the silver.
Of course.
In other words, what Angelina does.
The work that the four angels do, that's why it's an Ekhad, which are four angels, that it comes with different functions, but it is a working conjunction of an Ekhad. Exactly that. Even the name of Angelina is an angel. Of course, if you hadn't noticed.
Now, I just wanted to point out that to listen to their problems and try to take them to
Sitting is to cleanse them. It's to cleanse them, of course. Absolutely. Very well. Let's go to the text of the invitation. That's why I've left the octopus. He's been here many times. It's one of my favorite ones. He's always upset. He's a little more happy because we gave him a crown. We have the statue of Babylon, which is standing still, and it wants to be brought down. I don't know if it wants to, but this will bring it down. Jesus, the Messiah, which is being purified, will strike it and will destroy it. We have very little left. So then, after Revelation 17, we shall study something which will help us in the form of thinking. We've studied this before, and I won't say anything, but we'll study it from a different aspect, and so that it helps in your purification thereof, actually, so that it may help you. There are so many things which I do not understand in my mind. Actually, I do not understand. I don't know if I should say this, but I don't understand. It does not enter into my mind, but maybe Elohim made me that way. things that I don't understand. For example, I don't know why it goes, my mind goes, my passion for saying it. For example, I don't understand when I tell you, write your address well. If you're not able to write an address well, I ask you, how is the brain of that person working? How is the brain of that person working? What the way of processing an information? If you can't do a small task well, how are you going to make an even greater task well? That is what I do not understand. And I stop to think, and I say, it cannot be either I'm living in a fantasy, because I expect a lot more from people. A lot more from people. I cannot stand simplicity. I cannot stand ignorance. I cannot stand ineptitude. I cannot stand the very little effort that people put into things. It's like they do it without wanting to do it. It's like they don't even give it its passion or the effort or the time to do it. They don't. They don't. They do it. Well, here goes. You asked me for the address. Here goes. I don't believe sincerely. I don't believe sincerely that a king, without getting to an excellence, can be a king. It's not formulated correctly. A person that is not actually a king in the most minuscule details can then later be a fantastic king. Where's he going to get that? Where's he going to get all the effort of doing things correctly? Where from? Are they waiting to receive some sort of miracle in their mind that makes them do things that they could have done and they didn't want to do? Might it be that they are waiting for a miracle in themselves? Might it be that? Or might it be that directly they won't be kings? They are thinking about something, but there's small passion in doing things. There's very few effort into doing things. If it disgusts me, which I don't have the power now of kicking you out, I do not understand how they'll do it. I really don't understand it. Because a mind of a king, or of a future king rather, has to start to think like a king. There could be mistakes. I'm not complaining about that. But it has to do the most possible, humanly possible, better that he can do. For example, what am I getting into now? I get into? No, I shouldn't. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into it because we're not going to touch on Revelation 17. But I want you to understand that you're not going to receive by grace anything. If you're Christian, you've always heard by grace you received. Okay, you're not going to receive anything by grace. What you're going to receive is information thereof. If you don't change your problems, if you don't solve a DHS, if you don't solve your few effort of doing things or your passion, passion's not going to be added into you to do things well, to do things excellent, to do things that are asked from you. You won't have that. You're not going to have any gifts. The one that is worth anything will be worth something, and then that are not worth anything are not worth anything, period. It would be the most unjust thing in the world that only by believing you receive abilities that you had them now, you didn't want to touch on them because it requires for you to think, but it requires for you to use your brain, and when you use your brain, it hurts. And since it hurts, it's better not to do it, just like that. Just fuck it all. Either way. Let him deal with it. Most of the addresses that I sent, it made me took me, I don't know, it was hours looking for them in Google, and I noticed that the city that you wrote down that you lived in, no, that does not exist. I say, how could it be that I have to do the work for you? I cannot understand it. All the ones that gave me the answer well are saved. I congratulate you. That for me, it's a stupid task. At a level 0. That I don't really ask you things that are. I mean, it's level 0. Where the fuck do you live in? I don't know. You make mistakes in the city. You put down the wrong city. Wow. You don't even have the effort. No, I'm gonna answer well, because at least always the eternal truth has given me the best. I cannot give whatever. I'm just gonna go into the post office. I'm ignorant. I'm learning. I acknowledge my ignorance and stupidity of 20, 30, 40, 50 years in the garbage can, because I could have learned a lot more. I stayed in stupidity of just talking stupid shit, in the stupidity that my mom taught me, in the stupidity of my DHSs. I stayed without developing my brain, without thinking. And I'm talking I speak without thinking, and that's my problem, and I write without thinking. And precisely, I write to Christian without thinking. Instead of reading 20 times what you write to me, no, I write it without thinking. I tell them that I live here next to this store. When there's an actual address, a real post, zip code, what is a person that's a king has to do? I don't know where I live. I'm an ignorant fool. I will get rid of this ignorance. Get rid of this being a jackass. I'm a jackass, so stop being a jackass. So I'm going to stop being a jackass. What can I do? I mean, whatever.
Nos hace doler el estómago, pues yo sé que está mal escrito el nombre, falta una tilde, falta una H, está mal, pero no importa. ¿Cómo se llama? Ponen el nombre de sus hijos con minúscula. ¿Por qué? Yo no entiendo. Yo no podría darles una tarea. Yo los miro a todos, yo le digo, ¿cuánta responsabilidad yo, Cristian Silva, le daría a ellos? A casi todos, a la mayoría, ninguna. Ninguna. Porque si le doy una puta responsabilidad de darme algo que deberían saber, no lo hacen. Miren, si yo le digo, vayan a tal ciudad, tráigame esos tipos, tráigame toda la información que les pido. ¿Qué información me van a traer? ¿Creen ustedes que de golpe se van a hacer súper inteligentes, súper vivos, súper sagaces, súper dedicados a lo que yo le pedí? No.
Dedicated to what I told you. Now, if you can't give me your information, how are you going to give me the information from someone else? Tell me, because I don't understand it. Tell the truth. I don't understand it. It frustrates me. It frustrates me. Tell the truth. Write to me. I'm going to sit to polish you. I want to grab most of you and throw you in the garbage can. And just, can you send me, please, another group if I can find something that can satisfy me? Actually, my words are harsh. They are harsh. But if I were in the position of what I'm listening to and I'm like that, I would just try to change. Look, I tried to change. What is a person in the very same situation? I'm just listening to complete stupidity. Can't be something lower and lower and lower. It cannot be. Nothing. You go to the post office and you say, look, I'm a very ignorant fool. I live here. Can you give me the same address? Somebody writes to me. Can it get to me? No, you need this, you need that. You need that. Okay, perfect. You write it. Don't send me a picture. You know, how many send me a picture? You know? The hours that I dedicated in looking at a picture or where you think that you live in, of written address, and I have to be writing. I should copy your written address, copy it, and put it on my guide of the rings that I'm going to order. You drove me crazy. Actually, you made me get 5 years older with the rings because you're so inept with your bad willingness of solving the problems for me. I thought it was going to be a pleasure. You know what it is to work with people that it's a pleasure? Let me explain to you. I had a company and I had over 10 employees. Every one of them, I would train them myself. They would start earning minimum and I would teach them to do from the lowest to the highest and in the proper time. To the preparers, I wouldn't let them to touch a sprayer. Even if they thought that was easy. No, absolutely not. You're going to learn everything from the lowest level to be perfect in what I, as a painter, or whomever of my painters, my masters, do that work that you're doing even faster. Whether it's from scraping to preparing or washing down a house to putting up tape for everything, the whole procedure, a master knows everything. So then, one that comes to learn has to learn everything from the bottom. That is my way, from the bottom, not from the top, not from below. When we go to a house, everyone, I would just give a command, or one of my captains would do it and give a command. I didn't have to go later to see if it was well done, to see if the tape, it would touch a window or something was out of place, because every mistake would be something better. And every mistake, when you have somebody that is worth something, they do it well from the very first time. So then in my company was an orchestra, because they each did what they had to do well. I teach them from the basics, but I don't want to repeat your work. If I have to tell you, place this like this, do it like this. Don't do it in a different way, and then also do it quickly. And I don't want your way of work. I want my way of work. If you demonstrate to me to have a better way, I'll practice it. If I see that it's better, I'll change it 1,000 times over. But in the meantime, I don't want you to give me your way of work. And it has to work perfectly well, and that would be a pleasure. And there's only smiles and jokes, because we're all working in harmony. When there is a group in which there's no harmony, that's when you get all the problems. Because I ask you to do something and you don't do it. And I send you something and it gets lost and you don't do it. There's many lost rings. Who's going to pay for those rings? I have to pay for them? Let's suppose that I sent one with 10 rings and they got lost. Whatever the situation is, a bad address, and they got lost, I have to send them again. Let me ask you, who's going to pay for those rings? Those are $2,000 plus the shipment. Who's going to pay for them? I have to pay for them? You say, yeah, you have to pay for them. To top it off, I make a favor to you. I risk with everything for you. Not I. When I say I, we're four. We risk our time. We risk our humor, our nice moments for you. But you do not answer to my satisfaction. That is the truth. You don't answer in my satisfaction. When a person answers in my satisfaction, I am more than happy. But when they don't answer in my satisfaction, the only thing I feel is just, I feel and saying, this is the best. You know how many people I know that would be a lot better? But I'm saying a lot better, from their comments to other things, so much better. Why do I have to deal with this, or do you need a lot more cleansing? Or so many years that you've been here and you're still the very same inept people, but you're going to receive 7 spirits, and those 7 spirits will make you, forget it. Either you become better here, or you become excellent here, or you become excellent people here. Or actually, you won't receive what you expect to receive, because it's impossible. Just like that. My words are harsh, but to purify the children of Levi is that you have to be purified. It's not to try to purify the children of Levi. No. I think that the task of purifying the children of Levi, some will be purified and others won't. Others will be discarded, just like that, discarded, absolutely discarded, completely. That is what will happen. So then the group of purified people, those will be the redeemers of the world. But there's no redeemer of the world that is not excellent. Here you need excellence, period. I want you to keep those words firm. For example,
me la jugué
I risked it
completamente.
entirely, and when I say I, we're four.
Nuestra integridad
Our
y
integrity
nuestra economía.
and economy,
Por brindarles
in
algo
order to give you something
que tiene un
which
valor
has
y que
a value,
no importa si lo
and that no
pagamos
matter
en su
if you were to
tiempo,
pay for it in
me
its
conforma
time,
saber
it's
ustedes
enough
han
for
tomado
me
un
that you have
compromiso para pagar.
made
Eso para mí es satisfactorio.
a commitment to pay for it. If somebody can pay $5 a month, pay $5 a month.
Si
If
pueden pagar
you can pay
todo junto,
everything
pagan
together,
todo
then you
junto,
pay
porque
for
eso hace
everything together,
que
because that
podamos
makes
seguir
for us to
en
continue
este proceso
in this process
ordenando esto
of
y
ordering
terminando todo
this
lo que hay
and
que terminar.
finishing with everything that we've got.
Quiero
Now,
que sepan algo.
I want you to know something.
Quiero que sepan
I want you
algo
to know
y
something
sepan de
and
nuestro
know it
lado.
well.
Nosotros tenemos
We have all,
absolutamente toda la confianza en lo que
absolutely all
ustedes se
the
meten.
trust in what you get into and the commitment and that in which you gave your word. If your word
No es bueno,
is not good,
entonces tampoco
then
va a ser
also
buena
it won't be good,
promesa de ser
the
reyes,
promise of being
por
kings.
supuesto.
Of course not.
Porque todo va a
Of course
traer
not, because
una
it's
colación.
all
Yo
gonna
creo
be in conjunction. I believe that many
que los anillos
of the
van a
rings
terminar siendo
will end up
maldición a
being
quienes
a
lo
curse to those that receive them,
porque ellos sabían
because they knew that
que no
they
les importaba.
could care less about
Ni
them,
tenían intención
nor had
ni siquiera
any intention,
intentar
not
ni
in
trabajar
very
para
least to
pagarlos.
try to work to
Solamente
pay for
querían
them.
poseerlos.
They just want to possess them.
Justamente eso van a
And precisely
terminar
that will
como
end up as,
en la película El Señor de los Anillos, ¿cómo se llama?
like in the Lord of the Rings has the
Bajito,
the the,
feo.
the little the monster.
My precious. Bueno, en la película el Goblin. ¿Cómo se escribe? Gollum.
Gollum?
Van a
Gollum.
terminar como Gollum. Con esa my precious.
Oh, my precious, my precious. And they're gonna go into the fire. Remember how it ended up, huh?
Luchando por obtener algo que no les
Fighting for something that didn't
¿A quién le pertenece?
belong unto them. Whom does it belong to? Someone that understands the symbol.
¿A quién le
Like,
pertenece?
whom does this belong to? Someone that understands the symbol
Y que acepta
and that accepts a covenant. They accept it.
Entonces, al
So then,
aceptar el pacto,
by accepting the covenant,
es un compromiso.
it is a commitment that they take. And that commitment they take is to say, wow, I'm going to do everything possible. I'm going to do even more. I'm going to start to think what I can do
Para cumplir con mi
to
pacto.
fulfill with my commitment. That's the very least minimum that I can do to whatever.
De alguna forma u otra,
In one way or another,
es la
that
disposición
is
que se
the
necesita.
disposition that you need,
Una persona dice,
the willingness thereof. It says, I want it.
un
Nah.
día tengo plata, lo pago.
If someday I have money, I'll pay for it someday. They,
Pero va a ser como Gollum.
but it'll be like Golem. They'll receive the ring.
Precious.
My
No le va a
precious.
servir para nada. Es más,
It'll
va a
be
ser
worthless.
para
In fact, it'll be a curse.
padres que le han comprado sus
There
hijos
are parents that have bought their
hijas o a
daughters or sons or their mother that,
un amigo que no
or a
son de
friend
la
that they're
verdad
not from the
eterna.
eternal truth, many of them.
Escuchan.
They listen.
Ellos están jugando con fuego.
They're playing with
Esto no
fire.
es una joya
This is not just any jewelry,
bonita para lucir.
a nice jewel just to wear. No, it's something else. Aside
Preciosa que
from
pueda
it being
tener.
the most precious jewel that you could have, it's not just a jewel.
Entonces,
So then,
tratar de
to
obtener
try to obtain something
para
in order to, for someone that you know,
a eso voy,
that's what I'm getting to.
eso voy, de eso estoy hablando.
That's what I'm talking about, precisely from a gift to another. Let's suppose that a mother wants to buy her son, even if they know that her son could care less about this message, doesn't want to leave her son outside. No, on top of your son staying outside, you are also going to be outside. Why? Because you're not purified. Here, you have to fight for yourself,
No por
not for the children, which you think that they deserve it. No. If your son wants one, let him come and ask for it. If your mother wants one, let her come and ask for it, for example. Exactly.
It came emotionally from us that they'd be able to acquire something in what they believe in, as if they were fans.
que tiene un símbolo,
That it has a symbol. That it has a symbol.
es que es parte de
It's a part of everything. That certificate, it's stuck to the ring.
Totalmente.
Exactly, completely.
Para nada,
Not in the very least,
por supuesto.
of course.
Exactamente.
Exactly.
Otra cosa que ha ocurrido.
Well, another thing that has happened,
Conté la semana pasada, pero
and I
quiero
told you
volverlo
about
a contar.
this last week, but I want to say it again because another case has happened.
No han hecho la tarea simple, pero
You haven't done the simple task, simple task.
así. ¿Qué
Just
más
like that.
puedo decir?
What else could I say? Simple of measuring your finger. I cannot believe it. Just like that. Sincerely, I can't believe it.
A todos les he escrito.
Because I've written to everyone, I think that measure is not. Yes, it is mine.
Después lo recibe. Oh, no,
And they receive it. Oh no, it's small.
pero encima yo tengo que pensar.
To top it off, I have to think for them, and that is already.
Llama la espina. ¿Cuánta
It
confianza
upsets
puedo
me.
tener
How
en
much
esas personas?
trust can I have in those people?
¿Cuánta confianza me
How
despierta
much
a mí
trust that they
para
make
decir
me have in them
va a
to
ser un
say
líder
you're going to be an excellent leader?
confianza?
How
Si
much
no fueron capaces
trust?
de
If you
decir,
weren't
"Yo quiero
able to
esto",
say, I want
no voy a
this,
una joyería,
I
voy a
can't
buscar
go
en Mercado
to
Libre, voy a buscar-
a
ustedes
jewelry
no
store, I'm
tienen
going to look in Mercado Libre. You don't live in inaccessible
si viven en
places.
lugares inaccesibles, a todos nos
If
puede
you
pasar.
live in inaccessible places, you can't be listening to me. And actually, you don't have anything of anything. You also can't be a king.
Tiene que usar su inteligencia.
You have to use your intelligence. Those that want things and they desire them, they do them. You can't go to the jewelry store. It's embarrassing. Or then give me the number. I'm going to look in Mercado Libre. I'm going to look
En algún lugar donde vendan
in some place where they sell
plástico, no valen nada.
some measuring
Si no tenés
rings, and if you cannot afford the measuring tape, you should not have the ring, because your mind is, I want to be must be this minuscule. You say, I cannot invest in that if I can barely buy tortillas. I can barely have for tortillas. How am I going to buy a measure? I mean, forget it. You don't even try to have a ring. So then they will look for threads. Wow.
mentalidad tan reducida.
What a reduced mentality. Except say, no, Christian said, from go jewelry, I'm going to go. I can't go to the jewelry. I'll buy one myself. I'll be the jewelry store. I'll be the jewelry store.
No me equivoco.
But I don't make a mistake. They said to ask half a number more. I'm not going to make a mistake. If it's bigger, it'll be even better. I'll put something that makes it smaller, but for it to be small, what do I do?
Pelotudo si
You're excellent idiot if it's small. What other words could I give you? You're an idiot if it's small. I don't have any other words. You have to accept it. If somebody is upset, then fuck off right now. Just like that, fuck off right now.
porque no
Because
ustedes se enojan
if you get upset
lenguaje
by my
se enojan porque
language, or you get upset because you don't accept your ineptitude, you're never going to accept it. And when I give you a difficult task, you'll be even more of an inept fool. So then actually, a person says, I'm going to buy a tester. In every country, they sell plastic ones. You could buy a Chinese one, some more expensive ones, some cheap ones. You can have all types. You can have all types. What you should not do is to use a little threat. You should not do that. And I told you.
personas que
People
lo metieron a fuerza y después
that did it by force, and then they had to cut it.
personas que ni siquiera lo pueden
People
meter ni a la
that
fuerza.
could not even put it in by force.
Da risa,
It's
da-
laughable.
no me
It's
entra, pero
it says it won't enter, not even by force.
ni el número de que necesitan. Nada. Exactamente.
Exactly.
Les digo, miren,
Let me tell you, I say,
muchos de la verdad tan
many of the Eternal Truth ask me
sobre los otros canales.
about the other channels of the Eternal Truth.
En cada video.
When they're written in every video, things I don't understand. I don't want to speak about it. I want to be talking about more wisdom, but what wisdom could you have in the least variable
Y no hablo de las personas que hicieron todo bien,
And I'm not talking about the people that did everything well. Okay, I'm not talking about them because they require my congratulations.
Al 10 o 15% felicitaciones.
10 or 15%, I can give them congratulations. 70% and above, plus,
Tienen mucho que desarrollar.
they have a lot more to develop. I mean, a lot. You cannot make a mistake about your address, because if you make a mistake, you expect for me to make an envelope, to make a long customs
Correcta. Ustedes no les importa.
form with the right address. You could care less. You have written to me. You have written to me without any, with asterisks in one line. Without, I would like to send it just like that to see where the fuck it ends up. I'd like to grab those people by their neck and tell them, can you tell me, you think that that which you wrote to me is an address? What are they going to say? No, I didn't know. I did my best, but you're not going to be a king. You're worthless. You're worthless. You don't put any efforts. There's no passion. There's nothing. There's no willingness. There's no willingness. I told you from the very beginning, I want the address, the street, and the number. Sometimes necessary for the colony in some other description, and then city, department, and province. In the middle of that, the country. I told you in that order. And for you to put it all in the same line or two things, it makes me upset. For you to send me a picture of where you live, you make me so upset. But I have to look at the picture and writing. I look at the picture and I write. I have to make a job for you that's so unfair. I mean, so unfair. I mean, arguing here or not? Is there not arguing here? Because of you. Because of you. If you need to make your ring bigger, I want you to hear it from my mouth. You can take it to the jewelry store. You cut it to make. In order to make a ring bigger, you cannot put it into a press like that. It's not flexible like that, and it breaks. So that's not the way of making a ring bigger. You have to cut it. There's no other turn of the page. A good jeweler will tell you, not your friend or your sister or your brother. You have to cut it. Once you cut it, that's when you open it. You put it into a round thing that it's getting bigger like this. You open it to the measure that you need. And then the jeweler has to put it back together and to put silver again in that spot where it was cut, because it was cut, obviously. So it has to fill it up with silver. It has a price. It's not too expensive. Then you have to polish it, and then you have to again put YHWH. That ring has lost. It's not original. It's not those that we certified. I told you. No. You can make it bigger. Make it smaller. No. It's not good to make it smaller. There's plastic ones that you can wear. But to make it bigger, go ahead and make it bigger. You don't lose we authorized it so that you make them bigger, period. Because of your ineptitude, of course. There's still women or girls that ask for a 5. I don't believe that any woman has a 5. It's difficult for me to believe it. It's difficult for me to believe it. A 5. Wow. I have to send it. I mean, let's not even talk about it. Just like that. Let's not even talk about it. So then, out of all this, we're going to speak in other studies about the development of intelligence, how we can develop our intelligence. How would the guide be? It's going to go against all your culture, against all your way of thinking. It's difficult. The change is difficult. Actually, it's difficult to change it. And many of you listen to me, and you think that you're actual followers, but you act in a different way. When you have to demonstrate it, you demonstrate it in a different way.
demuestran otra
You demonstrate something else.
Bien.
Very well.
Creo que esta
I believe
la
that
historia de
this
estas
story
piedras
of
blancas
these white stones,
nos
wow,
sorprende mucho a
it
nosotros.
has made us learn a lot.
Muchísimo.
We learned
Nos
a
hace
lot.
sorprender mucho.
Made us learn a lot, but also
Revela o devela
it
o
reveals
demuestra
or
muchas
it demonstrates many things.
muestra muchas cosas.
It demonstrates many things, just like that. So many things.
Muy interesante.
Very interesting.
Tremenda.
Tremendous.
Solamente dice, quiero uno
They
para
just
mis
say, I
hijos.
want
Y
for
tienen
my
5
children. They
hijos,
have like
los
5
nombres.
children, didn't
Yo
give them
digo,
the names.
¿será que en su mente
I said, is it that in their mind?
me dice, deme uno
They
para
say,
cada
give me
hijo,
for
y no me da
each
el nombre de
son,
los
and they don't
hijos
give me the number of the sons, and I have to
¿Cómo se llaman?
go and say, what are the name of your children?
sí,
Oh,
la
yeah, I
se llama-
forgot, yeah.
Minúscula.
And they put it
Yo
with
debo preguntar,
lowercase
¿estás seguro
letters.
que
I just say, are you sure?
Un ejemplo, ¿no?
Just an example.
¿Estás seguro que es Jezabel con
Are you sure this is Jezebel with the Z or with an S? And then later on they look and they say, oh, yeah, yeah.
Tengo que ir al
I have to go look in their profile because they need an N in the name. And then they say, oh, my daughter's name is this.
Con Lenny nos miramos y dice,
With Leslie, we look at each other and say, I sent the profile, and to top it off, there's an N missing. I don't want to give names because
entonces yo le digo,
there's an N there. And I asked the mother,
su hija se llama,
is your daughter's name this? No.
ok, basta,
Okay, that's enough.
basta, Lenny.
Okay, it's enough, Leslie. I told you it's enough.
Lleva N el nombre. No,
Is there an N in the name? No, there's no N. How do you write it? Oh yeah, there is an N. No, oh,
estoy viendo una
can't be.
fantasía.
And this is all a fantasy.
Tenían que explicar la Biblia.
What if you had to explain the Bible? What if you had to explain and read the Bible?
A veces le pregunto, ¿es niño
Sometimes
o
I
es
ask you,
niño? Se ofende.
is it a boy or girl? And they get offended. You don't see that it's a child. Yeah, but that
Ignorante.
name could be of a boy or a girl. For example, Leslie could be used for male or female. Leslie Nielsen, a male actor,
Cómico, se llama Leslie.
his name was Leslie. Christian, it could be Christian, it could be women. Isn't Christian black?
En México, se llama Cristian.
His name is Christian.
La gente hasta se ofende.
People get offended.
Es mujer, pero me ponen como
It's a woman.
no se da cuenta.
Saying, you don't see it, you idiot. No, I'm not an ignorant. You're the ignorant fool.
Si es niño,
If I'm asking you it's a boy or a girl, it's because
su nombre.
their name is ambiguous.
Y los nombres que se
And the
inventan en los
names that
países
you make up in the
latinos,
Latin
empezando por
countries,
República Dominicana,
starting with the Dominican Republic, following with Guatemala,
tan inventados.
so made up name.
Y le
They say
ponen la
John,
H donde se le canta
and
la
they put the H wherever they want, just wherever they want.
John, y le ponen
John,
cualquier
and they
lado,
put just what the H and whatever. It doesn't matter. It's worthless.
poner un nombre en inglés.
If you want to write a name in English, you have to write it at least where the H goes. I have to see where the H goes because, of course, you don't even know how to write it.
La H es muda, la H es
Yeah, because the H in Spanish is mute, and they forget, and the names they make up, then they don't even know how to write them. I'll tell you the truth.
cómo escribir.
You don't know how to write them. I ask you, is there an accent mark? So, oh yeah, there is an accent mark.
A uno me dice, no, no lleva.
And then so, no, there's no accent mark. And if there's no accent mark, how do you pronounce it?
Yo quiero saber.
Because I want to know. Well, they made us go crazy. Crazy is just like that. Crazy, absolutely crazy.
Pero bueno,
But oh well.
quería comunicarle. Dije,
I wanted to communicate that with you.
oh, excelente experiencia.
An excellent experience.
Nos conocemos más ahora.
Now we know each other even better.
Nos vamos conociendo más.
Now we know each other even better.
Una excelente experiencia.
An excellent experience.
Pero no le den un crédito a Yahweh.
Don't give Yahweh any credit. That's what Yahweh was trying to say. That's what Leslie's saying. Zero credit unto Yahweh.
Ni hacer las listas.
Not even making the lists.
Sí, claro. Y
And of course,
¿y cómo
to ask everyone, and how did you know? Because say, I'm 30 years old, and I'm on number 14,
Una mujer,
a woman.
un ejemplo. Se llama Susana.
Just an
Tengo
example. Her name is
30 años,
Susana. I'm 30 years old,
chiquita, un ejemplo,
and
pues sí.
she doesn't exist. Okay, and I'm a 14, but she's very thin
¿Cómo tuviste
in the
el
picture.
número? Tengo que preguntar,
How did you get
¿cómo
that?
tuviste el
How did you get that number?
número? Lo que
Must
yo
be
me
laughing because of all the questions I ask them when I see that it's sus. I say, how do you know about that number? They say,
porque
no, because I saw a video on YouTube.
está con eso.
Already, we're starting with that already. I know that they did it. They fucked it up.
Absolutamente para ti.
Absolutely fucked it up.
Agarré una cinta.
I grabbed a little string, I measured it, and I looked for a guide. Wow.
Cada dedo, quiero que sepan.
Every one of the fingers, every finger that I have, I use 12, 13, 14, and I could use 15 depending on the finger. And I measure them to go out,
Depende cuánto
and it's whatever, depending of how I adjust it.
como tener un
There's no other way other than to have a tester. It's worthless. I mean, wow, absolutely wow. I'm surprised.
sorprendido.
I was completely surprised.
Pero es una experiencia. Una experiencia
That's an experience. It's an experience
para la historia.
that will be left for all history.
¿Cómo actúa exactamente? ¿Cómo actúa?
How they act exactly, how they act with a task or with something of responsibility.
Exactamente.
Exactly.
Muy bien.
Very well.
Sí, acá José pone, hay números de
Jose
dedos
wrote,
de España,
there
pero por
are
supuesto,
in Spain some
siempre
different
les
numbers, of
dije,
course.
cada
I've already told
familia
you,
como
every
se le
country
ocurre. Yo
measure the way they
necesito,
want.
porque son
I need them
ordenados
because
aquí,
they're
lo necesito
ordered
en el
here. I need them
número de
in the
aquí,
number
yo
of
se los
here.
digo a ustedes,
I told you that.
que lo pueden hacer.
And you can do so, of course, so you can clearly do so.
Ni una palabra más.
No more words about it.
I ask them to give us a like, and they don't even give us that.
Likes, tenemos
Likes, we have
253.
253.
Claro, a muchos
And of
les está
course,
costando ahora poner.
many, it's difficult now to give a like.
Después de lo que escucharon,
After what they heard,
sí, que cada uno que se
because of
equivocó en la
course,
dirección,
everyone that made a mistake in their address,
no, y que tiene mi,
I mean, they've got me.
estoy con una palabra de,
I'm looking for the most adequate
es
word.
algo que
It's
yo
something
siento
which
como
I feel as if it were
ya me
something
fallaron.
that
Porque
you've
una
failed
tarea
me already.
sencilla de hacer,
Simple
no la
task of
hicieron correctamente.
doing it.
Si les pido algo más
It's
grande,
so simple, you didn't do it correctly.
eh, eh,
If I were to ask you something greater, I could not imagine what you're going to do. Of course, I cannot imagine
absolutamente.
what you can do. Absolutely. Entirely. Very well.
Entonces,
So
es
then,
difícil el
it is
trabajo de
difficult. The
purificar a
task
la
of
tribu de
purifying
Leví.
the
Es
tribe of
difícil,
Levi, it's
muy
difficult.
difícil, pero el trabajo
Very
lo-
difficult, but
realmente
the
los
task,
ustedes tienen que
you
empezar a
actually
trabajar
have to start to work on that
completamente.
entirely.
Muy bien.
Very well.
Ahora sí.
Now we can
Nos
begin.
vamos al texto de
Now we
la
go into the text of the
Esto es
invitation.
para la mente que tenga
This is for the mind that hath
las siete
wisdom.
cabezas son siete montes.
The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth.
Y son siete.
And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen,
Uno es
and one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. What's important of this, that we're not going to get to that, of course not. What's important about it, for the mind that hath wisdom, and next Shabbat, once again, we'll have the same text. Why? Because the series is called For the Mind That Hath Wisdom. How much wisdom does your mind have? Because wisdom has to be applied in everything that you do. In everything that you do, there has to be wisdom. You cannot do one thing with wisdom and something else with complete stupidity. You can't do that. Wisdom has to be applied on a permanent basis in everything that you do. Very well. We've been studying the first text of Revelation 17, but I'm not done with the first text. I'll read it again. And there came one of the 7 angels that had the 7 vials, and spoke with me, saying, Come hither, and I shall show thee the sentence against a great whore, which sitteth upon many waters. I will show ye the sentence. Precisely in this series, Revelation 17, Part 5, the title is called Judgment and Sentence of Babylon. It's not on YouTube. Because of that video, the channel even, we lost it. What's it going to call? Many are going to ask me, where could we see it? They're going to ask me. Look, every time that you ask me, how much does the ring worth it? It gets me so upset. I want you to know it. I want you to know this, because I said it from the very beginning. So then for you to ask me, could you give me the value of the ring? And for me to have to answer you, look, the value of the ring is called $200. And the shipment, which it's $50 now to send it. Some countries, which is $60, but it doesn't matter. And others is $40, $45. Doesn't matter. $50 because it's the average, $50. So it's a different way in priority. So from the get-go, for you to ask me how much it's worth, I put you in a certain class of people. I want you to know that. For you to know the one speaking. When you ask me a stupid question, I treat that person as a stupid idiot, because a stupid question could come only from a stupid person. So then, you want to stop being stupid idiots? Don't ask stupid questions. Just close your mouth. Don't write. And you could pass as if you were wise. But if you ask me, you're going to show me what is in your mind. If you ask me how much is the ring worth, it's directly something that I've repeated from the very beginning. So then it upsets me, because you have not grasped the idea. You have not grasped it. You have not grasped it. I wanted to be sure. You want to be sure. Look at the previous videos. You don't deserve it. Just like that, you don't deserve it. Some other people have written me. Well, there's so many crazy cases all over. People that have written, I want the ring, and this is my number, and this is my address and everything. When I'm about to send it, well, no. They start to write to me. When's my ring gonna be ready? I'll let you know. I have an order with the jeweler of more than 100 rings. The ones he'd given me, I grab them, and we'd make the certificate, and we send it. I cannot expedite anything. I don't keep them. I don't hold them in the very least. That's why it upset me when you asked me, if we pay for it, do you send it before? No, you'd be buying me. I could care less if you pay for it or not, if you're going to pay for it later, or you prepaid it. It'll be when the jeweler gives me the ring, no one else. If it's 20 before you that have not paid for it, then I know that they're not going to pay it, because I give or take know the people. But my responsibility is to send it to you. They go first. They go first, and the one that paid some month ago, I could care less. But the order, the ones that asked for it, that's the order that is respected, not if they paid for it or not. No. Now I have some extra ones, because always when I can, I ask the guy to make me some extra ones, and some extra ones precisely that they asked me, and I said, I have this extra one and I can send it. Those are the cases that, but they have written to me saying, once they have the order already, and I tried to send it, and how much is it worth? Already they upset me with that question, and I've answered them. You know what? The people that have upset me told me, and they say, oh, that's too much. You know what? I thought it was worth less. Can you gift it to me? Just like that, directly. They have told me, just like that, directly. I have to tell them, you have told me that from the very beginning. You can't tell me later. Once you ordered it, well, it talks about your person, right? What else can I tell you? It says a lot about your person. There's all the cases that there's ever been that you can think of. There's all kinds. And there's those that have gifted many rings for others. That's magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. You've got those, and you've got all those that give of themselves. I can pay for mine, and I'll give a gift for the rest. No, they give me the value to me so that I can choose certain people that can receive it completely free. Marvelous. Completely, entirely, exactly. I do not accept for you to say, here goes the ring, but I'm going to give it to, unless it's something very close, some sort of lineage, just like that, not because they're a friend of some guy that lives somewhere else. I'm going to buy it for that guy. No, not that. You want to give it a ring, give it to me, and I'll decide to whom the ring goes free. Just like that. You don't decide who it goes to. Or else in the end of it all, you decide who should have it and who shouldn't. Absolutely. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Very well. So then we move on here. Where was I? Okay. So then in the fifth subject, Revelation 17:5, it has the title, Judgment and Sentence of Babylon. Or against Babylon, I can't remember. Of Babylon, I think. Judgment and Sentence of Babylon. Precisely in that video, is what the angel's talking about. The angel can't come speaking stupid shit, saying, John, I'm going to show you a punishment. No, it's not a punishment. It's going to show you a sentence. And the sentence was given by a jury. The sentence was given by a court of justice. So then, that places us clearly when this prophecy has to be understood. It's details that do not even go up into the mind of those that study the Bible, whether they're pastors, doctors, and theology. It doesn't go up. They read this and they don't see that there has to be a judgment, and that judgment is in Daniel 7. Well, we have fulfilled that. Just like that, fulfilled that. Period. It's over. So then there's a sentence, and that sentence is in a video of these called Revelation, and precisely it's called Revelation 17. Do you think that there's any more chance about that? It's not in a video called, I don't know, the Children of Elohim Part 5. No. It's in a video called Revelation 17 Part 5, and it's precisely the sentence. And we fulfill the prophecy without us even understanding it entirely. Not even in its entirety. We can see it in the distance now, in hindsight, and see, wow, in order for the angel to come and show us a sentence to John, there has to be a jury to dictate a sentence. And the guy comes and says, come hither, and I shall show you the sentence against the great whore, the one that sitteth upon many waters. This week I was reading, just because I wanted to read, because I like to waste my time in reading things. I was reading about the comment in Revelation of Uriah Smith. The guy directly says Babylon is Rome. It doesn't give you any more explanations. Then later he says, yeah, because Rome this and that, but it's automatic. And it's a programming. Babylon is the Catholic Roman Church. That's it, it's over. Without any sense whatsoever, without any weight, it's already defined. And in one of the places which I read of Uriah, it said as follows: the definition of Babylon is Rome by definition. By definition, just with that we defined it already, there's nothing else to do. That is left in the mind of people. And in another paragraph I read that it said, by generally speaking, in most of the Protestant churches believe and accept that Babylon is Rome. So then already it's over. All the Protestant churches are protesting against their mother. They see it as a prostitute, and it's Rome. That's it, it's over. So then when they see some guy speaking like me, just any Christian out there, of course, it's incomprehensible for them to take that out from their mind. In their defense, I would have listened to one of my videos 20 years ago or 15 years ago, in the year 2006, 2007, and I stopped to think, and I look at Christian Silva telling me Babylon is Israel. just like that, right away. In that very precise moment, the effect that is normal in everyone, I would see him as some ridicule clown, and to top it off, ignorant. My whole programming, my entire programming, would get rid of the brutal logic that it's Israel. So then it would not allow me to try to see it from that point of view. Directly, it's a no. It's stupid, this idiot. My whole life I knew that Babylon is Rome, that the beast is Rome, that the Pope is the Antichrist, and not some guy's going to come with a new idea that I don't see to tell me, to someone like me, that I have the truth that Rome is the beast. No, directly, no. There's no form of breaking that barrier in just one preaching. You need time. Just like you need time for many things. You need time to understand the flat earth. You need time to go from common medicine to the Germanic medicine. You need time to go from a trinity to something different. In the beginning, no, because our entire mind works in conjunction and it's understood as something firm. And to take that out is to cause an earthquake in all the rest of the doctrines. If I were to say, I as an Adventist, as before, along with Leslie, both of us very Adventist, or whatever Adventist out there, if I were to caress the idea that the Catholic Church is not the beast, or is not Babylon, it's not just to fix that. Every one of the prophecies that I have to be as true, they all leave. Every one of them, it all goes. It's as if I would be left passive. I would be left absolutely cuckoo, just like that, crazy. Because all the prophecies are based, all the Adventist prophecies, every one of them are based that on Rome being the beast, and that the Pope is the Antichrist. Every one of them. How is Rome going to act at the end of times? The Dominical law, the mark of the beast. The final persecution, Sunday law, Saturday, the Sabbath, the faithful of the Sabbath, all that is the essence and the diagram, the entire diagram of the prophecies. If I were to move what would seem to be innocently just an aspect, the beast is not Rome, the beast is Israel. It's not innocent, it changes everything. I have to get rid of everything. Ellen G. White is out of here. Gambetta's out of here. The greatest theologians like Bohr, well, they're not the greatest theologians, not even Gambetta. They all the pioneers are out of here, from James White to Uriah Smith and all the rest. They're out of here. So then it's not a change to say, well, yeah, I accept it. No. It's not that I accept it. Everything changes. They changed the whole paradigm. I'm upside down. They sent me to a different planet. They changed the reality. I don't even want to go to the Adventist church anymore. Nothing, none whatsoever. Absolutely. Saturday and Sunday, I believe that Saturday was the seal of God. And what is the seal of God? It all turns. That's why when you listen to me speak, some simple fool out there that's programmed, they cannot accept that. So then they say, this guy's a false prophet. I don't know what I'm listening to. It's just noise in my head. If I were to accept that, I would have to accept that everything that I know is dog shit. Directly. Then I don't accept anything, and I'll be left the way I am. The same thing with flat Earth. From understanding, from watching, from believing in NASA, believing that we went to the moon, believing in the satellites, believing in that whole thing that we're floating, rotating, and traveling, and that we are nothing in a galaxy that's enormous, but in its turn is nothing compared to the rest of the galaxies, and in turn is nothing compared to a universe in expansion. to all of a sudden to say, you know what? All the little stars, the galaxies that you had in your mind is all just painted on. What? That's all that it is. There's nothing else. Actually, it's dog shit. It's dog shit. There's nothing. In fact, you can take it out like that, and it all leaves. What? The sun is a lot closer to the earth and the moon than what you believe. What? It's a lot smaller. It's a little lamp, little tiny lamp, and the moon something else. And we never went to the moon. So then that requires for you to change your entire information. The science that you love is difficult, very difficult. Takes its time. You have all the DHSs in the cleansing that you have to do of everything that you thought you believed in. If all of a sudden you're a doctor, or you really believe in what those with the white robe give you, their whole gamma of solutions, and their x-rays and everything they have to offer, and their capacity of diagnosis and treatments, all of a sudden you come and you say, you know what, this works like this that you don't see does not exist. You produce that yourself because actually you have lived traumatic experiences. You live them alone. Even if you tell somebody, you live them alone because you don't even notice that it's those experiences. You enter into a conflict. That conflict causes for your body to trigger a reaction. That reaction causes for some of your organs to be alterated, grow, to shrink, or stop working, or whatever. And then later, you get the consequences, and you think that it's something genetic, or that it comes from the air, or that somebody was contagious. You know the trauma that it generates to know that. At first you see it as ridiculous. Well, every one of those things, absolutely, that's actually, they're difficult to get over. There's only some that say, okay, even if I have to remove everything that I know, I'm going to remove it because I want to know the truth. I am in search of the truth because there is no other food that is more delicious for me and enjoyable for me than the truth. To see some guy, for him to give me some stupid religiousness, I don't want that. I want somebody to be honest with me, to see it as authentic, that if he's going to insult me, he's going to insult me. If he has to lower me, he has to lower me, but he's authentic. He doesn't do it with a personal interest. He does it for those that actually want to get better. And it has with logic that you don't have to accept it by faith. You can read it and say, that's true, like Hummer. You don't have to accept it by faith. It'll demonstrate. The truth of Hummer is brutal. I demonstrate it in my own body, and I see it on a permanent basis. Now, I mean, the evidence is innumerable because we've practiced it. We see how the DHSs are triggered, how they react, how to control them, how to end them. I mean, everything, absolutely everything. But in the beginning, it's almost impossible to change. So then, only some are able to change. And the secret of understanding these prophecies, one, that is to understand that there's only one Elohim. There's not two or three. And the other is to understand that the beast, that the Antichrist, that Babylon is not Rome. Is not Rome. Is to understand who the beast is, who the Antichrist is, who is Babylon. Just with that, if you're able to understand that, the prophecy is open in order for you to understand more and more and more. And then, this sentence that the great prostitute receives, it's a sentence done by a jury, by judges, real judges, that had to do a real judgment. And when I say real, not by the means of Babylon, but real, that it was something verifiable, something which took place, something real, and that they sentenced Babylon. Exactly. That has to be fulfilled, but that cannot be accessed if it's not understood who the great prostitute is, which is precisely Israel. Very well. But because of that, just like I started off, this whole commentary, I get on the side. I get on the side of the Christians. And they say, yeah, poor things. There's no chance for them to understand. People that come and insult and I have to delete their comments, tell the truth. Yeah, there's no chance for them to understand it. It's not because of you, it's because of the programming you have. And there has to be something in your mind for you to want to fight against all the lies inherited of your parents. Those that don't do it now, they're going to do it later. Only lies was the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there's no veil. But at some point in time, you have to say it. Now is a moment of some. The rest will understand it later. Very well. This makes every church a false church. Of course. Absolutely, of course. Well, we studied the text of Yeshua himself. I wanted to add one. Well, it's not that I wanted to add one. I wanted to add many. But one which I had quoted, that had been quoted by Miguel Angel. If I remember correctly, in first book of Kings. Let me see, where is Kings? Where are you? It's very good. First Kings. Elijah is speaking. First Kings 19:10, which reads as follows. And he said, I have been very jealous for Yahweh Elohim of hosts. For the children of Israel, who? The children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant. I could care less. Thrown down thine altars. I don't care about that either. And slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I only, am left. And they seek my life to take it away. So then Elijah says, look, who killed the prophets of Israel? Who killed them? The children of Israel. And it says to top it off, the children of Israel are looking for me, which I'm the last prophet of God. What for? To give me a reward? To take my life. To take my life. Who was looking? Was Rome looking for him? No. The children of Israel were looking for him. It's more than clear. So then, who is Babylon? Who is Babylon? Revelation 18:24 answers it. And in her, in Babylon, was found the blood of the prophets. More than clear. That's it. It's over. There's no need to add anything else. And the prophets of Israel were killed by the children of Israel. That is where you find the blood of the prophets. Yeshua says so clearly. He says it. Yeshua says it, which I've read it already in Matthew 23. But now we go to add, which is in the first or second subject of this series. Doesn't matter. I want to study Revelation 17, what the Tanakh says, or the Old Testament, about what title does Yahweh add to its beloved Jerusalem. It has a title, and it's not bore by Rome. This title. That's why I tell you it's difficult, almost impossible to change the paradigm. But only those which want to win the battle of understanding the truth, it is for them. Those that don't, I understand, because it's difficult. If they were to tell me this back in 2007, I would not have understood it. I'm not saying that I would not have understood it later. It would have taken me so much time and battling and discussion against myself. If I see that guy, or if I see it as abomination, if I understand it clearly that it's Rome, I know what's coming. Dominical law, that's the way I would think. That's the way I would think. So then, in order to take all that garbage out, in order to get rid of all that garbage, that's why I said before the 15th of Tishri of 2011, if this is not fulfilled, I'm going to throw everything in the garbage can. And I did. How many doctrines from that were left? Tell me, how many doctrines were left? None. None. No doctrine was left. Oh, the important ones, right? None of them. Not God. We used to worship two, the Father and the Son. I don't believe in God nor the beast, nothing, not even the parrot. It was true. If this was not fulfilled, and then I would cast everything that I taught into the garbage can. Now, I said something else that I threw away. If by 2028 it's not fulfilled, I'll throw the Bible away, because then the word of Yahweh would not be worth anything. That says heaven and earth could pass away, but my words are more firm than heaven and earth. So then it'll all happen during this generation, the generation. And look at that with what we're going to study, not today, but in this series, Revelation 17. It marks a specific time. This is not fulfilled, if this generation by 2028 does not see the coming of the children of Elohim, then I'll grab the Bible and I'll throw it away. I said it the other day and I sustain it. And I wasn't joking. I wasn't joking when I said, if Christ does not come in Tishri 15 of 2011, everything will go into the garbage can. Everything did go into the garbage. It all left, even the interpretation of Revelation 17, of course. Absolutely, of course. Okay. So then, we're still in the adequate time. We're in the adequate time, the time of cleansing, the time of purification. In fact, it must be your fault that you're not purified. You think you're purified, but you're not. You're very far from the mark. But it's not my fault to tell you. It is not my fault. In any case, it's yours, because you demonstrate that you still need time. Okay, we go to the Tanakh. We go to Isaiah, which I love. I've read it 20 times over, but I love it and I enjoy it every time I read it. I hope you enjoy it along with me, because I love it. And even more when it is against Israel. When Yahweh hits Israel over the head. Isaiah 1:21 says, how is the faithful city become a harlot? Precisely, the great harlot. How? He says, how are you become a harlot, O faithful city? They were never faithful at all. But, he's going to say it. But at least at some point in time they tried. At least they tried. It says, how are you become a harlot, O faithful city? What is the faithful city? Rome? Tell me, Rome is the faithful city? No, of course not. Absolutely, it's not referring to Rome. It's not that it's not faithful. It's had nothing to do with Rome. It's speaking to Isaiah speaking. Elohim is speaking through Isaiah to his people and says, how you become a harlot? How? How? Well, let me tell you how. Because of this. It is because of this. Because of these people. It was obvious. It was obvious that they were going to become a harlot. But of course, it's obvious. I don't know why Elohim was so surprised. How are you become a harlot, O faithful city? You're filled with justice, and equity was in her, but now murderers. But now it says, Jerusalem is now a harlot city. Who's the harlot? Jerusalem. Who is the city of the murderers that kill? Jerusalem. It is more than clear. Absolutely clear. Now let's go to Ezekiel. This chapter is very fun. I love it. Ezekiel 16. I'll watch it and I'll read it in the DHH. I'll try to read it without explaining so much, because we're not going to finish up, and I'll read it all today. We'll have to finish this today. In other words, the chapter. We'll have to finish today are the chapter, the text 1 of Revelation 17. But we'll have to read all of Ezekiel 16 without explaining so much. But it's very good. Ezekiel 16, 1 through 52, Spanish DHH, 2002. Again, Yahweh came unto me, Ezekiel, saying, Son of man, or Son of man, it says in other versions, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations. Unto whom? Unto Jerusalem. Jerusalem. USA, England, Russia, England.
Todo está incluido en Jerusalén.
It's all included in Jerusalem,
Y Germany.
in Germany.
Tú, hombre, hazle ver a Jerusalén las cosas tan detestables
Son of
que
man,
hay.
cause Jerusalem to know her abominations,
Eso dice
and
Yahweh.
say, Thus saith Yahweh,
Te toca tu origen,
Thy
tú,
birth and thy
Jerusalén,
nativity,
eres cananea,
thou,
o sea,
Jerusalem,
pagana
are land of Canaanites,
de
pagan,
nacimiento.
by
Tu
birth.
padre fue amorreo.
Thy father was an
Y tu
Amorite,
madre
and
hitita.
thy mother
Creo que todas esas
an
cosas son más
Hittite.
bien
I
insultos que
think
otra
that
cosa.
all those things
Porque
are
era
just insults
cananea,
more
por
than
supuesto, era
anything.
Canaán.
Canaanite,
Era
yes, they
cananea,
came
tu
from
padre fue
Canaan,
amorreo,
Canaan,
y tu madre hitita.
and your father
Creo,
an Amorite, and
creo
your
que se refiere a
father
eso solamente
Hittite. I
insultos.
believe it feels only insults.
El día en que naciste, me gusta
The
porque
day
son
of thy
palabras de
birth,
Yahweh a
I like it
Jerusalén.
because these are the words
El
of
día
Yahweh
en
unto
que
Jerusalem.
naciste, te cortaron, no
The
te
day of thy
cortaron el
birth.
ombligo, o sea que no les importó un carajo.
The navel was not cut, they could care less. When Jerusalem was born, thy navel was not cut, neither was thou washed in water to supple thee. Thou was not salted at all, or swaddled at all. In Argentina, swaddled means that they put some clothes on. None I pitied thee to do any of these unto thee, to have compassion upon thee. But thou wast cast out in the open field to the loathing of thy person. Very interesting. That is the beginning of Jerusalem, loathing city, and it's loathed later. They start by being loathed, and they finish by being loathed. And when I passed by thee and saw thee polluted in thine own blood, about to die, I decided you should live. She was dying. She was about to die. A newborn, they left her there with her placenta. They could care less. They left her there in the field. That is the example that I was placing here. I decided that you should live. Actually not, because you're a prostitute from the beginning, but I'm going to give you a chance of living. I decided that you should live. Decided about Jerusalem, the story of Jerusalem, and caused thee to multiply as a bud of the field, and thou hast increased and waxen great. And thou art come to excellent ornaments, thy breasts are fashioned, and thine hair is grown, whereas thou wast naked and bare. So then you were growing, you became a woman, or you're still ugly, detestable, despicable, and naked, just poor, without anything. Not when I passed by thee, because he decided that she would live, or else she would die. And I passed again by thee, and looked upon thee. Behold, thy time was time of love. And in the time of love, of sexual relations, what he means. And I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. When a skirt over thee, it's not the verse. She was naked, I put my skirt over thee. It's not the best expression. I know that nobody notices those details, but I do. There's a better way to write that. There's no need to say that just by saying I covered thee. You were naked, and I spread. Okay. It doesn't say hand. Okay, let's start with that. Let's read this well. In Spanish, it doesn't say hand, it says skirt. I read hand, but it wasn't hand. I spread my skirt over thee. Now it's better. Take everything out that we said before. See how things are fixed right in a moment. Not that you send me your addresses in a moment and you don't fix anything. And again, I passed by thee and looked upon thee, and you were in the age, in the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yeah, I swear unto thee, and I entered into covenant with thee. Wow, many things for Jerusalem. Covered her, dressed her, and made a covenant, a commitment with thee, and you were mine. I, Yahweh, affirm this, that you were mine. I don't know what he's referring to me, if it was his, because I'm speaking, prophetically speaking, and symbolically speaking, made her his woman, possibly so, because he has relation with her, in the sense of Elohim and people, covenant, and it was his, made her his. I, Yahweh, affirm this. Yahweh speaking. I washed thee.
limpié la sangre y te perfumé.
Yeah, I washed away thy blood from thee, and I anointed thee with oil. I clothed thee also with broidered work, and shod thee with badger's skin. And I girded thee about with fine linen, and I covered thee with silk.
Te puse brazaletes
I decked thee
en los brazos
also with ornaments,
y un collar.
and I put bracelets upon thy hands, and a chain on thy neck. It's talking about a woman that becomes a prostitute later. And I put a jewel on thy forehead, and earrings in thine ears, and a beautiful crown upon thy head.
Te cubierta de oro y
Thus wast thou decked with gold and silver,
vestidos eran de lino.
and thy raiment was of fine linen and silk, embroidered work.
Te alimentabas
Thou didst
con
eat
el mejor
fine
pan
flour
y con miel,
and honey
aceite de oliva.
and oil.
Llegaste a ser muy
And thou wast exceeding beautiful,
convertiste en una
and thou didst
reina.
prosper into
Porque esa mujer
a
reina
queen.
sobre los
Notice
reyes
that
de la
that
tierra.
woman, a queen upon the, she reigns over the kings of the earth. You became a queen, the Queen Jerusalem,
Famosa entre las
and
naciones,
thy renown went forth among the heathen. It's
que era perfecta,
clear for thy beauty, for it was perfect through my comeliness, which I put upon thee, saith Yahweh.
la reina se lo puso allá.
Notice all the details. In order for it to reign, Yahweh allowed it, but it's a prophecy.
¿Por qué Jerusalén no?
Every detail of why it's Jerusalem or why that people rules the earth is because he allowed it. He gave unto the
Fue dando,
red
fue dando por
children,
todos lados,
and he gave unto
por eso
them.
son grandes.
That's why they're great. There's no other reason.
Confiaste en tu belleza,
But thou didst trust in thine own beauty, and playest the harlot because of thy renown,
entregando tu
and
cuerpo a
pouredst out thy fornication on every one that passed by.
En las colinas, ¿qué se hizo? Una prostituta.
And upon the garments, when she became a prostitute, here a city reigns upon the world, becomes a prostitute.
Que claro.
Who's a prostitute? It's more than clear.
Colinas hiciste con tus
And
vestidos
upon the garments thou didst take and deckest the high places with diverse colors, and placed the harlots thereupon, and like things shall not come, neither shall it be so.
que yo te había regalado, por supuesto.
And pourest out thy fornication on everyone that passed by, which are
¿Cuáles son
the
las
jewels,
más joyas? El
the
templo,
Bible, the other
todo
jewels,
lo
the
demás,
temple,
las tradiciones que tenían ellos.
the
Todo
traditions
eso
that they
todo,
had,
todo.
took that all and ruined it all.
Y hizo
Did with Judaism, did away with it,
un tipo de pueblo
made him become a type of
que
people
tiene bueno, nos enseñaron
that has conflicts. Well, they taught us that they had the conflict of a victim
así es.
in order for them to reign.
Tomaste
Just
las
like that.
joyas de oro y de
You
plata
took the
que yo te
jewels
había
of gold
regalado,
and of
hiciste
silver that I had
figuras
given
de
thee,
hombres para
and
prostituir.
you make figures of men to prostitute yourself with
Le
them,
pusiste tus vestidos de bellos
and you
colores,
put your
y les ofreciste
fine linen
mi
over
aceite
them,
y mi
and you
incienso.
offer them my oil and my
Estamos hablando
incense.
de doctrinalmente,
It's all
por
talking
eso todo el
doctrine,
judaísmo,
of
todo lo
doctrines.
demás es todo
That's why all of
prostitución
Judaism, it's all prostitution,
y una doctrina
and
absolutamente diferente y
a doctrine
contraria
that's
a lo
absolutely
que
different and
Yahweh le había dado,
contrary to what Yahweh had given
que Yahweh
her,
le había dado, por
which
supuesto.
Yahweh had given
El
her.
pan que yo te había dado
And the meat also which I had given thee precisely,
era de la mejor harina,
fine flour
el aceite y la miel
and
que
oil
te había
and honey,
alimentado,
wherewith I
se los
fed thee.
ofreciste a ellos
Thou hast even said it
como
before them,
ofrenda de olor
were a
agradable.
sweet Savior.
Yo, Yahweh, lo
And thus it was, saith
tomaste también a
the
tus
Lord
hijas e
Yahweh.
hijas que tuve
Moreover, thou
contigo,
hast taken thy sons and thy daughters, whom thou hast
y los
born unto me,
sacrificaste
people
a
of
esos
Israel,
ídolos,
and thou
un
sacrificed unto
alimento
them
para ellos.
idols to be
¿Te parece
devoured.
poco haberte convertido en
Is this
prostituta?
of thy whoredoms a small matter, O Jerusalem, the great whore,
Sacrificaste a
that
mis
thou
hijos,
hast slain my children,
entregándolos a morir.
and delivered them to cause them to pass through the fire for them? Who are them? The prophets.
Por eso dice
It's referring to everything.
Gran Babilonia
That's why it says that the great
culpable de
Babylon
muertes,
is
desde Abel
to blame of all the
hasta
deaths, from Abel until now, until the last one.
Sacrificaste a mis hijos,
You
entregándolos
sacrificed
a
my
morir,
children by
quemados en honor
causing them to
de esos
pass through the
ídolos.
fire for
Con tu
them.
detestable vida de
Those idols,
prostituta, miren cuántas
with your
veces
abomination as in whoredoms, look at how many times calls
no te
prostitute,
acuerdas
whore.
de cuánto eras niña.
Thou hast not remembered the days of thy youth. Of course you forgot.
Y estabas
You were a
completamente
girl,
desnuda,
when thou wast naked and bare,
tu propia
and was polluted
sangre.
in thy blood.
Esto afirmo yo, Yahweh, ay de ti.
And it came to pass, after all, thy wickedness, woe unto thee, saith Yahweh.
Construiste en todo
Thou hast also built unto thee an eminent place, and hast made thee a high place in every street.
la prostitución.
into whoredom.
Son todos símbolos.
It's all symbols, okay?
Término de todo
Thou
camino,
hast built a high place
tales lugares.
at every head of the way.
Convertiste tu belleza en algo
Thou
de
hast also
vida,
committed fornications with
ofreciendo tu cuerpo
the
a todo el que
Egyptians,
pasaba, en continuos
thy
actos
neighbors,
de prostitución.
and to every passerby, and multiplied whoredoms, and also prostitution on board with the word prostitution against Jerusalem. And you also committed fornication with your neighbors, those Egyptians, of great sexual potency, and increased my whoredoms to provoke me to anger. Behold, therefore, I have stretched out my hand over thee, and have diminished thine ordinary food, and delivered thee unto the will of them that hate thee, the daughters of the Philistines, which are ashamed of thy lewd way. Thou hast played the whore also with the Assyrians, because thou wast not unsatiable. Yeah, thou hast played the harlot with them, and yet couldst not be satisfied. Also in Babylon, and I loved it. When we got to Babylon, Israel, Jerusalem, was taken to Babylon. When Yahweh took her to Babylon, it was his best idea. And there, she was the greatest whore of them all, and from them all, she became Babylon. And also in Canaan unto Chaldea, land of merchants. What is Babylon now? Land of the merchants, the great merchants. Who are the greatest ones? Those are the Pharmakeia, but of course, land of merchants. And even not then were you satisfied. I, Yahweh, from this, how sick was thine heart to commit all those lewd acts of a imperious horsewoman. It's always talking about Jerusalem. In that thou buildest thine eminent place in the head of every way, and makest thine high place in every street, and hast not been a harlot, in that thou scornest hire, but as a wife that committeth adultery, which taketh strangers instead of her husband. They give gifts to all whores, but thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers, and hirest them, that they may come unto thee on every side for thy whoredom. And that's precisely what she does now. She pays. That's really all of the governments in bed with her. She was paying. But all the governments, by paying. It's more than clear. That prostitute does not charge. She owns it all. But in order to own the power, she has to buy it. That's why all the presidents of all the countries of the world, they're bought by this prostitute. Because the prostitute pays for her services. For their services, it's more than clear. It is electrifyingly exact and precise, this prophecy is. It says, you were actually the one that would offer gifts unto your lovers, of course, all the governments. And you would pay them, that they should come from everywhere to use you as a harlot. And in your prostitution, you have done the contrary that other women do. No one looks for you to sin with you, nor do they pay you, but rather you pay them. Just in this you were different. Therefore, harlot, just Jerusalem, now it says, therefore, O harlot, hear my word. Very important. I, Yahweh, say unto thee, have discovered thy nakedness in thy whoredoms with thy lovers, and with all the idols of thy abominations, and by the blood of thy children, which thou didst give unto them. Who pours out the blood of the children of Israel? Jerusalem. Behold, therefore, I will gather all thy lovers. That is what comes at the end. Not now. There's time. We're waiting for this to happen. Behold, therefore, I will gather all thy lovers with whom thou hast taken pleasure, and all them that thou hast loved, with all them that thou hast hated. I will gather them around about thee, and will discover thy nakedness unto them, that they may see all thy nakedness. In other words, nakedness doesn't mean nakedness of a woman, but actually the vulnerability that Babylon will have. And I will judge thee as woman that break wedlock and shed blood. We judge that. And I will give thee for adultery and murder, and will give thee blood in fury and jealousy. Where will he render Jerusalem unto? Babylon is unto death. Jerusalem unto death. It's already the sentence of death. We've given that sentence, period. It's the same thing as it is to read Revelation 17. I mean, so marvelous. People think that this is when, Jerusalem was destroyed 2,000 years ago. No, it doesn't refer to that. Referring to Jerusalem now, the Babylon today, the one that has sex with everyone, that one. And it says, and with fury and jealousy, I will give thee unto death, and I will also give thee into their hand, and they shall throw down thine eminent place of prostitution, which are the banks of Babylon, all the places of Pharmakeia, and of worship unto idols, and shall take thy jewels and clothes, and leave thee completely naked. Look at the language that's very much like, I'll read two more and I'll read the language that is like Revelation 17. I'll read that again. 40 and 41. Then I'll read Revelation 17. I am reading precisely now Ezekiel 16. It reads as follows. I shall give thee into their hand, and they shall throw down thine eminent place, and shall break down thy high places. They shall strip thee also of thy clothes, and shall take thy fair jewels, and leave thee naked and bare. They shall also bring up a company against thee, and they shall stone thee with stones, and thrust thee through with their swords, and they shall burn thy houses with fire, and execute judgments upon thee. The what? The judgments, the sentence. What are they going to execute? The sentence. The sentence is already there. Or to execute it. They shall execute the sentence upon thee in the sight of many women, and I will cause thee to cease from playing the harlot, and thou also shalt give no hire any more. But of course, that is what comes down. But look at what Revelation 17 says, if it's not the same prophecy. Revelation 17:16. The 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, shall make her desolate and naked, same words, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Exactly. Who is that prostitute? There's no doubt about it. She's called Jerusalem, period. That's it, it's over. It's clear. But it's not because I say it. It is here with, it's so well marked. I don't know how they've programmed this contrary to the truth. It's a mystery. If somebody wants to make me believe that Rome is the beast, it'd be so ridiculous. It's impossible. Absolutely impossible that they want to convince us that Rome is the beast. It's laughable. How did they do it to convince us that Rome is the beast? Because they never gave us the truth, and since we were little, we were programmed. That's the way it is. They never gave us the truth. In the moment in which you know the truth, who it is, there's no way to be deceived. I'll read that part again, which is just Revelation 17. It says, I shall judge thee, the judgment we did, due to adultery and murder. Adultery, of course, all the lies that she did and all the rest. And because of the the cup of wine. The cup of wine, 19. Cup of wine, 19. And murder? Of course. Murdered with the cup and still murdering with her solutions. First, second, third, fourth solutions. And it says, judge thee for adultery and murder. And with fury and jealousy I shall render thee unto death, and I also give thee into their hand, that they shall throw down thine eminent places, and shall break down thy high places. They shall strip thee also of thy clothes and jewels, and leave thee naked and bare. They shall also bring up a company against thee, And they shall stone thee with stones, and thrust thee through with her swords, and they shall burn thine houses with fire, and execute the sentence. The sentence that my judges issued upon thee in the sight of many women. And I will cause thee to cease from playing the harlot, complete end to it. And thou shalt no longer pay hire anymore forever. Then my fury against thee shall be satisfied, and my jealousy shall depart from thee, and I will be quiet, and will be no longer angry. Because thou hast not remembered the days of thy youth, but hast fretted me in all these things. Behold, therefore, I also will recompense thy way upon thine head, I, Yahweh, from this. And thou shalt not commit this lewdness above thine abominations. Behold, everyone that useth proverbs shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter. Thou art thy mother's daughter, that loatheth her husband and her children. And also thou art the sister of thy sisters, which loatheth their husbands and their children. Your mother was an Hittite, and your father an Amorite. So then she's the mother of them all. Notice, well, the daughters that Jerusalem had, of course. And to the north was your sister Samaria, she and her daughters that dwell at thy left hand, the younger sisters that dwell at Sodom with her daughters. Yet Yahweh has not walked after their ways, nor done after their abominations. The city of Sodom. What's it said that the great city, in spiritual sense, is whom? Sodom and Egypt. It clearly says who Sodom? Is Jerusalem. Your younger daughter, the city of Sodom, along with her daughters, you followed her example and did her same lewd acts. And not satisfied with that, your conduct was even worse than hers, of course. Jerusalem worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. It's more than clear. I'm not saying it. I, Yahweh, swear this with my own name, my own life. If we don't believe it, at least believe Yahweh when he swears by his own life. As I live, saith Yahweh, Sodom, thy sister hath not done as thou hast done. No one. He says, this is what happened before. No. That's nothing against Jerusalem. I mean, dog shit city. The Jerusalem that he's talking about in the time of Yeshua, when Yahweh came, it was just like this. It was like this. Like this. What is he talking about? That it was a great one. Prostitution was great. It was of a dog shit people called Jerusalem. No, absolutely not. It's talking about Babylon, but it's more than clear. This prophecy is not referring in any way to Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. It's referring to Babylon, which is Jerusalem in turn. So then, what's he saying? That precisely swears it by his own life that no one has done so much evil, so much death or injustice like Babylon has. That's true in all the history of this earth. No one has ever done so much evil. You know that the 20th century and 21st century is when more people have died in war, but a lot more. Why? Because Babylon was like that. A murderer. The First World War was because of a motive that we'll study later. And the second one is the other end later. And so then later, the Third World War is the cup of wine, evidently. It is all for their purpose. Wickedness has no name. It's never been so wicked in the world. So then what's it say? It says, I, Yahweh, swear this as I live. Sodom thy sister, she nor her daughters, as thou hast done, thou and thy daughters. Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom. Pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did they strengthen the hand of the poor and needy. Notice that we see this now. It's like this. There's a lot of idleness, but they don't help the poor and the needy. And they were haughty and committed abomination before me. Therefore I took them away and destroyed them. What did they do? They were very idle, and they were what? Proud. And what did they do? Things that I hate. That's why I destroyed them, as you saw. Because of Samaria, committed half of thy sins, Jerusalem. But thou hast multiplied thine abominations more than they, and hast justified thy sisters in all thine abominations. They're innocent in your next to you. Sodom, Gomorrah, and Samaria, they're innocent, just like that, innocent. Thou also, which hast judged thy sisters, spread thine own shame for thy sins, that thou hast committed more abominable than they are more righteous than thou. Yeah, be thou confounded also, and bear thy shame, in that hast justified thy sisters. I'm not repeating things. I'm reading what is written. It is really absolutely tremendous, the words of Yahweh against whom? Against Jerusalem, which is the prophecy which we're studying, Revelation 17. Who is Jerusalem? It is Rome? Of course not. Absolutely not. Not at the very least. Rome was a blessing for the entire world, completely. I've explained that to you, that they gave the truth upon the earth. It's the best thing they can do, to sow the truth everywhere. It came up and grew. It's marvelous to think that way. They planted and they spread the seed of truth. He always says, how do you hide the scripture? In a marvelous way. Only the kings can understand this terminology. The rest of the world says, oh no, Rome trampled upon the truth. No. They just cast it upon the ground, that it grow, exactly, so that it would flourish in America. Who came to cast the seeds of the truth in America? Thanks to the Jesuits, the Catholics, everyone that is angry with me can go fuck off, just like that. I don't waste time, just like that. I don't waste time. Thanks to the Catholic Church, do we have the Bible in the world? It was thanks to the Catholic Church that she came to conquer America completely. Thanks to the Jesuits, thanks to all of them, just like that, complete thanks to the Catholic Church. The beast are not thou. You are actually a beast in other aspects, but you're not the beast. You're not the beast. We know who it is, the beast. Clearly, I'm not saying it. Yahweh is saying it, not I. So then, I'll read the first text of Revelation 17 once again, because I am done with the explanation in the Old Testament and in the New Testament. In the Tanakh and in the, I don't even like what it's called in the New Testament. What do they call it? Well, the Brit. It doesn't matter. Don't pay attention. One of these days will become just like the ignorant messianics. That all they like is to replace words in Hebrew. Okay, Revelation 17:1 says, then came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials in the final moment of the seven cups, which we've studied already. By the way, saying unto me, come hither, O John. Hey, come here. Hey, Johnny, you don't understand anything. You don't have any wisdom. I'm going to show you something which will be left for later. And I shall show you the sentence of the Supreme Court of Justice of heaven and earth has issued. What jury is that? He asked of Daniel chapter 7. Don't ask anymore, but you won't understand. Not even Daniel understood. Come hither and I'll show thee the sentence that the jury issued, the supreme judgment against the great whore, the one which sitteth upon many waters. It is more than clear. Absolutely, I say the text like you understand clearly. I'll say it again. And then one of the seven angels came, which is symbolic, that had the seven vials. To him that understand the cups were in that time, and spoke with me, and to say, come hither, and I shall show you the sentence which the Supreme Court of Justice has issued against Jerusalem, against Babylon, alias Jerusalem, which is dominating, or which dominates the governments of the earth. That is what the text says. It's more than clear, and without any type of cover. We arrived in number two. Number 2 says, with whom the kings of the earth, what did Jerusalem do? Fornicated, prostitute, whoredom, with which the kings of the earth have committed fornication. In other words, Jerusalem is the fornicator, the great prostitute. Government rules over many waters, with which Jerusalem, the kings of the earth, have fornicated. That has been happening since a long time ago, completely. But the last act of fornication, which is in conjunction, it's a great orgy. Prophetically speaking, right? Prophetically speaking, what happened with the cup of wine in 2018 was a round bed of all the kings of the earth and the prostitute. That's the way it was. All of them like that. Just imagine, like Yahweh likes to do that, to represent scenes that are symbolic. Because he says, what does Yahweh say? He says, come with me and shall show thee, come hither and shall show you the presence against the great whore. Actually, it's not a woman, it's a city, and it's a government, and it's a system of government, and it's more than that. It is a power, a worldwide power. That's the way it is. It's not a woman, it's a worldwide power. But the way Yahweh hides all things in symbols, is going to hide in symbols what happened of the cup of wine. Against the great whore, which sitteth upon many waters, which the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. They have become drunk with the wine of her fornication. What is the wine of her fornication? It is very clear. It is very, very explicit the way Yahweh placed this. Okay? I'm going to explain it to you for the simple mind. Okay, the scene is the following. A real prostitute having sex with many kings at the same time. The real prostitute in a scene that's absolutely pornographic and absolutely going further than what you could, what your mind could imagine, is gathering the product of every king of the earth in a cup. You see certain movies where a girl, which is a prostitute, has sex with many men. Well, the scene that Yahweh presents is like this. If it was a pornographic movie, it's just like that. If you haven't watched it, I describe it for you. A prostitute having sex with 200 kings. Those are the presidents that there are. One with 200 kings. Those 200 kings will all climax either in her or in something. It turns out this prostitute has a cup in her hand. That is what happens. And in the cup, she is gathering what the kings give her. And they give her semen. It is more than clear. I have to say it to you because maybe you don't even notice. And so then she's given this sexual service to all the presidents of the earth. And they give her their semen. And she grabs the cup and she does what? Makes all the inhabitants of the earth drink it. That's why I don't want that cup. I didn't want to drink it. You see it and you say, it is, for how many kings? All of them? No, I pass. Hard pass. You have to drink it. No, I'm not going to drink it. Your mother can drink it. No, some people go and drink it entirely and they didn't even notice. But it is the semen which the prostitute got from all the kings of the earth. That is what they drank. That is the cup of wine. That is a cup of wine. It is more than clear. Show it to you so that your mind comprehends it. That is the way Yahweh speaks. It's very sexual, very explicit, very pornographic. That's the way it is. So it says, and then one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials talked to me, saying, come unto me, I shall show you the judgment against the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. What is the wine? Don't think that it's a grape juice. It was something else. It was the wine of the cum of the kings. It was a wine from somewhere else. It was white wine and very thick. Of all the kings of the world, that's what the people are drinking, and they drink it. Why? Because they drink what? What do the people drink? They get drunk with what? With the wine of her fornication. the wine of her fornication. Wow, I mean, that is absolutely marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. Magnificent. Just like that, magnificent. Was it important not to drink that wine? I consider it so, because the scene is very ugly. I mean, very ugly. Of all the kings of the earth that lay with this prostitute, which is Jerusalem, and to top it off, for you to drink what is left, it's horrible. This is where people, what do they drink? They drink what they produce. That is the symbol. What is reality? They drink the science, they drink the medicine, and the solution for the problems. They drink all the lies that there's ever been that they generate themselves. That is why in that relation, the product of that relation, they drink, that is what they drink. So then what did they drink? What is the cup of wine 19? It is the fornication of the multitude orgy that they did, and the people drank it all up. The same prophecy is found, you already know this by memory, you should know this, or if you don't know this, then tell the truth, it'd be another letdown. If I were to ask every one of you, where's this prophecy found in the Tanakh? Everyone would have to say Jeremiah chapter 25. I'm going to assume that you all answered that to feel well. Thank you for answering me. Of course, you're right. It's in Jeremiah 25. And let us go. Of course. I know. Jeremiah chapter 25, 12 to 18 says, when the 70 years are up, what 70 years? What 70 years is that? That's why I say if this is not fulfilled, tell the truth, in the year 2028, when it becomes 2029, I'll give it a chance, okay? When it's 2029, I'll grab the Bible and I'll burn it publicly and fuck it off to hell. Maybe I'll buy another one, but I'll burn it. I'll burn it. I'll make a commitment. I'll burn the Bibles. Why? Because the prophecies that I present are absolutely what it's called. It's flawless. What's called in English. If you don't know what flawless means, then fuck off. My prophecies are flawless. In other words, they don't have not one flaw. Nothing. What is flawless? Haiti. She doesn't know. She was born here in the U.S. Those nice flowers. These flowers, not flawless, Minto and Haiti brought us. They're precious. They're spectacular. They're roses, a little bit altered with some paint. Leslie's going to give you a picture later to show you. Thank you for the flawless. For the flawless bouquet. Well, what is that joke that Hector told me? What is this? This is canned food. What do you mean it's canned food? Yeah, it's canned food. Oh. How did that joke end? I don't have any more cans. Just a little latoncito, which is a play of words in Spanish, that it's like a mouse with an Asian accent. I'm in the authority and in the wisdom to have revised every point of this prophecy, not just Revelation 17. Jeremiah chapter 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Revelation 13, which is the same thing. Revelation 17, of the trumpets, seals, and plagues. And Matthew 24. There's no way of being wrong in anything.
Me la
In other
tiro
words,
de que
I'll
no estoy
really
diciendo algo que no tiene error totalmente.
claim that am I saying something
hablando
that
sin error,
has
alguno
is
siempre.
flawless? Absolutely. I'm
Esta
speaking
profecía
without any
es
flaw, zero.
famosamente,
This prophecy is
meticulosamente,
meticulously,
lo
spasmodically
que vamos a seguir estudiando
up to
Apocalipsis
date.
17,
What
está
we're going to
claro.
continue
Los
to
poderes
study
que
in
van a
Revelation
pasar
17, it's
sobre
clear. The powers that
Jerusalén.
we're going to pass over
Maravilloso.
Jerusalem.
Entonces, ¿qué puede
Marvelous. So then,
fallar? Y puede
what
fallar
could
todo.
fail?
Si falla todo, tiro esto a la mierda.
Everything could fail, and if everything fell, I'll
De
throw it all
fallar
in the
algo
garbage can.
para el 2028,
But if something were to fail by 2028, then everything would fail. Jeremiah,
que son 6 días
starting with
de creación.
Bereshit, which are 6 days of
Entonces,
creation.
nada puede fallar.
Everything fails.
Entonces,
So then nothing can fail. So then we are enjoying or living the last days.
de que esto se cumpla.
And don't
Esto se va a
become a problem whether this is fulfilled or not. This will be fulfilled. Jeremiah 25 through 2 to 18. And when the 70 years are up, I shall punish. When are the 70 years up? Notice, if this was going to be prophetic, it had to be spasmodically prophetic. When were the 70 years of Babylon up? In 2018. 2018.
Porque fue creada en 1948.
For it was created in 1948, not just because I want to. No. Since the state of Babylon was declared in Palestine, and they said, we are Babylon, and we declare our state here, then 70 years later, from 1948 to 2018, are 70 years. So then, Marcy says first that once the 70 years are up, then barely then will I punish the king of Babylon and that nation due to her wickedness. There's no punishment until the 70 years are up. And how does the punishment begin? Here it's going to say, due to her wickedness, saith Yahweh, in the land of the Chaldeans, and make it a perpetual desolation. Perpetual. We're in the process of the punishment, but all this would be given from 2018 and on. And there's a chance up until 2028. That's it, it's over. That's it, it's over, there's nothing else. So then we're doing okay, 2023, we're doing okay. And you're slow, I have to turn up the heat and the, I don't know, or throw you into the garbage can. I don't know what I should do. Tell the truth, I don't know. It says, and I will make her a perpetual desolation, and I will bring upon that land all my words that I have pronounced against it. Of course, even all that is written in this book, everything that is written in the book of Jeremiah, no, and everything, this whole book. But nothing will be fulfilled in 2018 and on. What is written in this book, prophesied by Jeremiah against the nations. Because also she will be judged against many nations and great kings. For many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of them also, and I will recompense them according to their deeds and according to the works of their own hands. For thus saith Yahweh, Eloheinu of Israel, unto thee, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send thee to drink it. Okay. What a brutal example. The first example that we're seeing, I want you to understand this. I want you to understand this well. Yahweh, when he speaks prophetically, he gives examples and gives symbols, and the symbol is so much more powerful than anything else. I can explain 1,000 words, but I cannot sum down a symbol into 1,000 words, because a symbol enters into your mind quickly, and in the symbol is contained many things that cannot be explained. For example, for certain healings, we need to do a symbolic act. I don't know, of many things. It's a ritual, a rite. Are you ritualistic? No, not into Yahweh or anything. Rites that I don't need. I do rites for me. This is not a rite of worship or anything. No, worship unto me. Sometimes my mind does not understand something, so I have to do a rite. And that rite my mind understands. It's not that I do a rite because of religion. No, I do it for myself, because I know that my mind will understand something. You have to bury something and I can't bury it, then I grab something physical that looks like a doll and I bury it. Is that witchcraft? No, it's not witchcraft. I'm doing it right for my mind. And my mind sees it and I'm burying this, I bury it, and finally I gave it a solution. It says now it's buried. I cannot bring it out by speaking. No, I have to bury it and I bury it. And it's worthless. It's worthless. You have to do it physically. You do it physically, your mind says, now it is buried, and it changes. The DHS ends. With that, there's many others. There's many others that way. You have to do the right. If you don't do the right, if you don't write a letter for your mom or whatever, it doesn't work. You have to do the right. Of worship unto no one. It is not witchcraft. It's a type of worship. Type of witchcraft to enchant your mind, which has problems. You have to do things that are more brutally physical for the mind to understand. If the mind were to understand, then you have to do it. If you understand it well and if you didn't understand, it doesn't matter. In prophecy, Yahweh uses symbols because they are brutally more powerful. So then, in Revelation 17, you see a prostitute that has a cup of wine. And you see that in the cup, she has the product of fornication of her own luxurious and sexual act with the kings of the earth. It's the same story as Jeremiah 25. It's just that Jeremiah 25, the one that has the cup, is Jeremiah. Is there a difference between Jeremiah and the prostitute? No, because Jeremiah is Jew and the prostitute is Jew. There's no difference. So then, Jeremiah plays the role of Babylon. And Yahweh is the one that gives him the product. That's all I tell. With that, I tell it to you like that. It's all symbols. I'll read it again. It reads as follows. It says, "For thus saith Yahweh Elohim of Israel unto me, take the wine cup of mine hand." Who has it in his hand? Yahweh. Who has the cup in Revelation 17? The prostitute. The prostitute, exactly. But now, Yahweh takes it out of her hand and passes on to whom? Unto Jeremiah. Jeremiah takes the role of Jerusalem, because Jeremiah has the obligation to make the whole world drink. In Revelation 17, it says that the prostitute makes everyone drink. So then, so you understand, Jeremiah is part of the people of Babylon. So then he represents the prostitute, represents Israel. And Yahweh represents what he himself formed, which is the beast, and all the rest. Okay, it's all the idea of Yahweh. So then it says as follows. For thus saith Yahweh Elohim of Israel, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send thee to drink it. And they shall drink and be moved and be mad, because of the word that I will send among them. Then took I the cup of Yahweh's hand. It passed from Yahweh to Jeremiah, and made all the nations to drink, unto whom Yahweh has sent me. Unto Jerusalem, which is the first one, Jerusalem is showing who Babylon is. Unto Jerusalem, the cities of Judah, kings thereof, the princes thereof, to make them a desolation, and astonishment, and hissing, and a curse, as it is this day. And now let us go to Jeremiah 25, 26 through 28. I'll read in the DHH. I'll jump ahead a couple texts. I read up until 18. Now I advance up until from 26 through 38. But in the Spanish DHH, it reads as follows. And all the kings of the north, far and near, one with another, and all the kingdoms of the world. What do we do with all the kingdoms of the world? Make them to drink the cup. How many kingdoms? All the kingdoms of the world. Which is the same to say, which is all the entire world, which are upon the face of the earth, and the king of Babylon shall drink at the end. Jerusalem first and Babylon at the end. What it means is that Jerusalem and Babylon are the same person. It first drinks it first and last, and the last one annihilates her. Therefore thou shalt say unto them, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, drink ye, that I, Yahweh Sabaoth, the Elohim of Israel, has commanded them. to drink until they become drunken and spew, and fall, and rise no more, because of the sword which I will send among you. And it shall be, if they refuse to take the cup of thine hand to drink, then shalt thou say unto them, Yahweh of hosts saith, Ye shall certainly drink. For lo, I begin to bring evil on the city which is called by my name, and should ye be utterly unpunished, ye shall not be unpunished. For I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, saith Yahweh of hosts. Therefore prophesy thou, Jeremiah, against them. All these words in my name shall roar from on high, and say unto them, the Lord sends his voice of thunder from upon high in his habitation, from the holy place in where he dwelleth, which unto his flock he shouts, as they that thread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. How many inhabitants? All of them, all the inhabitants of the earth. And the noise shall come even to the ends of the earth. The earth would not have ends if it were not flat. For a globe has no ends. For the Lord hath a controversy with the nations. Exactly. What is the process of controversy? It is the judgment that we issued. For the Lord will open a process or controversy against the nations. He will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, at least to hell. Perfect, saith Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, behold, Yahweh of hosts saith, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised upon from the coasts of the earth, and the slain of Yahweh shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered, nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. Howl, ye shepherds, and cry, and wallow yourselves in the ashes, ye principal of the flock, for the days of your slaughter and of your dispersions are accomplished, and ye shall fall like a pleasant vessel, and the shepherd shall have no way to flee, nor the principal of the flock to escape. A voice of the cry of the shepherds and howling of the principal of the flock shall be heard, for Yahweh hath spoiled their pasture, and the peaceable inhabitants are cut down because of the forced anger of Yahweh. He had forsaken his comfort as the lion, for their land is desolate because of the fierceness of the oppressor. Okay. And the peaceable inhabitants are cut down because of the anger of the Lord. For the wrath of Yahweh has sent a terrible war. That's it. Brutal and absolute. I'm not reading anymore from the Tanakh. This is equal to what I just read, with which the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have become drunk with the wine of her fornication. So then, what have we up until now? We've got that one of the seven angels representing the end of the world is coming. And he comes to announce to John that there's already a sentence. A jury was made, a supreme and special one, and issued judgment against the great whore. They know who the great whore is. They identify it. Who is the great whore? It is Israel. It is Jerusalem. Sitting up in great waters means that she dominates all the kings of the earth. The text number 2 says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, with that prostitute, in the time in which she sent. The method of prevention of the problem 2019, it is precisely the kings were already fornicating with her, because they were sent free to some even, and others they had to pay, but it doesn't matter. All the kings said yes. There is a program of prevention here, of prevention, of things, of the cup of wine, of prevention. Who taught that? The prostitute. They all gathered, fornicating, and the product injecting in them, and that they drink, and everything that they are made to be known, it is the product of their relation, with which all the kings of the earth have fornicated, all of them. And the kings of the earth drink it all up. They suck it up. They have become drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away. There it is. John now is transferred. He is transferred by many things. Another symbol. And he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. Where to? Into the wilderness. And why the wilderness? It is very important. And I saw a woman sit. Now he sees her. First the angel told him. First the angel said, now he sees it in vision. Says, look. First the angel came and said, that woman, the prostitute, John was listening. And then all of a sudden, this guy doesn't understand anything. I'm just playing. I mean, just so you see. Then it says some guy lost, like most of you, says, I'll take him and I'll show him visually. So then, of course, excuse me, of course, I asked them for their address. They don't even know how to give their address. Patmos, something, no, he doesn't know the Isle of Patmos. And then he took me, so John says, he took me in the spirit into the desert. And I saw, now he sees. Now the angel does no longer tell. And I saw a woman sit. Now everything that the angel saw, he starts to see. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed. Now you can see it because the angel didn't see that she was arrayed. Now he starts to see the symbol, but he sees it. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. Of course, I explained that already, because man, where the fuck is he saying that the woman had a cup in her hand? Why do you interpret that it's filled with the abomination of her fornication? Question, now is it clear? What is it filled with? With the filthiness of her fornication. First, the angel says, look, I'm going to tell you the story of some prostitute gal, that she has orgies with all the presidents of the earth. And well, the result of that orgy is in a cup. So then in number 4 it says, I started to look at the woman visually. And the woman was dressed, very, very splendid woman, rich with gold and pearls, precious stones, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. And it continues, John. I'm not going to explain that. That is for next Shabbat. Number 5, it says, and upon her forehead was a name written, a mystery. Babylon. Of course, it says there was a mystery there. A name written, there was a mystery. For me, it was a mystery. And I saw it had a written name. And we could translate it, mystery. What was the name written? Mystery. I think that would be the best translation. It's not that John says it was a mystery. It was written mystery, so that it's difficult to be identified. And next, because thanks to that, we identified it as Rome. That's why it's a mystery, and it's not. Actually, for us, it's no longer a mystery, but it's a mystery for the rest of the world. And it says, on her forehead was a name written, mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. And I like the word, original one in Greek, which is porne. The mother of the porne. Very pornographic, completely. The mother of the porne. And abominations of the earth. Precisely. That is in the text from number 3 and on. We shall study it next Shabbat. With that, it's been 2 hours 50. I know that your brain is not going to give you any more. If barely I ask you for an address, that is just something of the things that I have. You don't know how to write it. I don't think that you're going to understand anymore if I explain it anymore now. But just review all the subjects. This time, Revelation 17, you have to be capable of giving it the way I give it. Nonetheless, none more. Not in the way I speak, because of course you're not going to ask for any miracles here, but at least to say it's this one, here's the text, and this is what it means, at least in then. At least that, okay, yeah, what does it mean? What does the woman have? That it is filled with semen. And it does exactly that. Maybe you're in horror saying, I've never seen anything like that. Well, maybe you didn't never seen. But those that have seen it, of prostitutes, that they all finish in a cup of glass and they all drink it up. I'm not going to give you the name because you're going to say, no, it has a name. It has a name. It has a name in the jargon of porne that is here. And that many men come with a woman, and the woman has almost all its oral sex. And the thing is that they all finish in her, in the face, or in the cup, or in her mouth. And so then she spits that into the cup, and they all have that cup, and they all drink it. Not the men, but the women. That's the way it is. It's the style of sex. A style of sex, per se. And you're all very horrified. Or maybe you liked it. I don't know. It is a style of sex. That style of sex, before the world of the movies make it up, Yahweh already had it in his mind. Of course, Yahweh says, but I mean, that is modern. No, this was from 2,000 years ago. And the porno scene that John saw that the angel told him is what I'm saying. The angel said, look, there's a woman having sex with all the kings of the earth, and gathers everything in a cup, and that cup, she's not going to drink it, but gives it to all the inhabitants of the earth to drink. That's good. It's a scene that's so sexual, so strong, that I could assure you that in whatever church that you have been, they've never even told you, not even close to this. They always said, it is Rome, those are the lies, but they never explained to you what John is seeing. John is watching the pornographic scene. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. And I believe John was from the other side. That's why I believe so. I think John was from the other team. He would shoot on the other side. He would shoot against. Apparently he would shoot against. That is why he would look for Yeshua. He was the beloved disciple. So then apparently he would shoot for the other team. Of course, he would lay on his chest. He was the favorite one. He had the favorite one. So then I don't know. So then what I do know is that the pornographic scene that I'm seeing here is in cinematographics. Before cinemas and movies and everything, Yahweh, who knows it all, showed it to John. So then John is one of the first ones I've seen pornographic scenes. I mean, who else's movies? There was a vision, right? Now we have the vision. It's called television. We have the vision of television. He didn't have a TV. He had a vision, saw that scene, and was like, wow. You know that John, he was like messed up. He was like, I was astonished, with great astonishment. Yes, of course. He was perturbed, and even more perturbed. When he saw that, and he recognizes the prostitute at some point in time, and so he goes mad. He said, it can't be. I was perturbed and not astonished, with great astonishment. So then, well, we shall study that, and we'll continue on next Shabbat. But tell the truth, for me, this prophecy has been my favorite one, Revelation 17, but the time and place, the specific time, now we understand it as, with complete clarity, this prophecy has a time, and it's ticking, and it gets maximum to 2028. Without any further ado, we shall wrap up with a word prayer. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks because you opened the prophetic roll as if you were to show us in a vision, and we understand every symbol in a literal way, what it means and what you tried to say, because it is for us. Revelation is the vision that you show unto Yeshua, and we are that Yeshua. Whether anybody can understand it or not, those that cannot even understand it should not even listen, but we know that that book is in which you show us the events that will take place soon. Those events you show unto your son Yeshua, because so that he may learn and shows unto the rest of the world, that they may know that we're in the last time. All this we thank you for in your precious name, the name of our Father, Yahweh Sebaot. Alleluia. Semper Fi to each and every one of you. Let the laurels be eternal, that we knew how to achieve, crowned with glory. Let us live. And a great big applause for the Mashiach LVE. If the Lord allows it, of course, I'm just laughing because of Mikal. We'll meet again next Shabbat to continue to unravel and enjoying this precious prophecy. Alleluia to every one of you.